Absolutely.
I didn't get in the package.
Oh, great. Tomorrow night. No, not really, no.
Like who I missed. That fuck.
Holy crap.
It's a new one.
That'd be in and out quick. Maybe not. You're right. Pulled up and like, good lord. Out here. We're going to get started here in about another minute. Please silence your phones, pagers, radios, if you have them. I'd appreciate it, so we don't have any disturbance. And there we go. I call this meeting to order, Stuart City Council tentative agenda, Monday, March 9th, 2026, at 6 p.m. Council chambers. Call to order. Cobalt?
Yes.
Caps?
Yes.
Ingers?
Yes.
Nelson?
Yes.
Russell?
Yes.
All right, stand if you're able and join me in the pledge of allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, number 3, agenda approval. Need a motion?
Make
Approval of minutes of 2/9/2026 and minutes of joint meeting of 2/12/2026. Approval of financial statements as of 2/28/2026. Approval of bills as presented. Approval of liquor license, Wine Time, doing business as All Saints Special Events Center. Amended application for Goldfinch Provisions, Findell Promotion Incorporated. Need a motion?
Can I say something? That's actually, it's Lucky Wife Wine Slushies, not doing business as Saint Center.
Lucky Wife. Okay. That will make a change to Lucky Wife. Thank you, Mrs. Rehon. Okay. That is changed. Need a motion?
I'll make the motion to approve.
Motion by Ingers,
Second.
second by Russell. How do you vote?
Mayor, Commissioner,
Yes.
so on the application, I don't know if it matters, but I'm gonna clarify, it does say All Saints Center. Is that just something you can cross out and change on the application? Or do we have to?
The application is submitted to the state online. We don't have anything to do with that part of it.
So is that, I think what Mr.
So-
Cobal is asking is that since it's changed, it's not Wine Time, it's Lucky Wife. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I think
Mr.
she, so the premise, she has DBA there.
Yeah.
It does-
I
yeah,
think it
does that
should be
matter?
location. I don't think she
Okay.
should have been doing business as. I think it's a typo on whoever entered it.
Okay.
because it does,
So is that gonna change something if it goes to, or what? I don't know what she said.
If
What?
the name is changed too, does that cause any problems?
We can make the state aware of it.
Okay.
Just so nobody gets in trouble. That's the main
So
thing.
do we wanna leave that off then?
You can approve it as it was submitted, and then if there's an issue, then we'll bring it back to you.
Bring it back?
Okay.
Okay, that sounds good.
Okay.
Okay, was there a motion?
Yes.
By Ingwer,
And a
seconded by
second?
Russell.
Okay, okay, good. All right, thank you.
Okay, how do you vote? Cobble?
Yes.
Caps?
yes.
Ingers?
Yes.
Nelson?
Yes.
Russell?
Yes.
Okay. Number 6, public forum. I open it up for public forum. Each speaker will have limited to 3 minutes. Speaker shall provide their first and last name and town of residence. The city council shall not take action during the public forum. Mr. Cook, come on up.
Dick Cook, City of Stuart. I want to address the issue of code enforcement. I've been working with the code enforcement officers for 20 years, and we need to keep a firm stance on all these. We've got the same people, habitual offenders all the time. I've been major cleanups with Marty Forrest, Paul Schumas twice, numerous other ones. Now we have a house on North Main that the cleanup was supposed to have been done. He got his dumpster full and they never went back and picked it up. Now his trailer's half full again. And so we gotta keep on these people. I know it's hard when people come up and say, well, give me time that, well, they don't accumulate that junk in a day or two. It's a half a year. And so hopefully with the code enforcement, and then I'm gonna have Sarah print off the town cleanup if you guys approve it, and we'll start posting them all around town. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Oh, Mr. Sherm?
And I'm Dan Sharon, I'm from Stuart. I just wanted to speak, I see you're gonna maybe take action on the travel mart application for TIF. And I'm against you subsidizing the construction for another company, especially one that's gonna cannibalize other businesses in town. I mean, they're gonna draw a lot of traffic off the interstate, and we've already got a road that's pretty much shot on either side of the bridge. And we've got, from what I understand, there's a sewer project that needs to be done that's to serve the south side of town. And if we're gonna spend TIF money, we need to spend it on infrastructure, not subsidizing businesses on their construction projects. So if we are gonna do something with them, it needs to be a lot less than, we can't do 20 years and abate our taxes. So that's all I had.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Mr. Fong, did you have something?
Yes. Brenda Dudley with Midwest Partnership asked me to supply you with some information from Hometown Pride program. I put that out in front of your seats. She's up in Kenora this evening, so asked me to speak on her behalf. Midwest Partnership Economic Development is coordinating a regional application for the Hometown Pride program to Keep Iowa Beautiful. And I have provided some information, materials for you. This is a 5-year community development program that helps small communities organize volunteers, pursue grants, and complete community improvement projects. The program provides a regional community coach who works with participating communities to help move projects forward. Keep Iowa Beautiful covers about 75% of the program cost, and the participating communities share the remaining 25% local match, which is estimated to be around $2,500 per year per community, depending on how many communities will participate. Several communities along the Whitepole Road corridor have expressed interest, and the region has been invited to submit a full application by May 15th. Again, this is just informational tonight, so if the council has interest, the item could be placed on the April 13th agenda for discussion.
All right, thank you, sir. Anyone else?
Mr.
Yes, sir.
Yes. I first of all, I'd like to thank you for giving the audience a chance to speak. I think it's important. Just as a suggestion, because you can't take any action, I would say get a timer that everybody can see out in the audience, so it's just not back here, and then that's mainly for our protection, saying, oh, you cut me off too soon, you know, they can see the timer
Sure.
and stuff. So
Okay.
at some point, I think we should look into that, so
All
I
right.
appreciate it. Thank you.
Gotcha, thank you. Anyone else? All right, at this time, we'll close the public forum. Number 7, old business. Resolution number 26-05C, resolution for length of service award program. I'll turn it over to Chief Martinson.
So as far as the passing the resolution, I don't think I have a whole lot to do with that, right? For your resolution number. I did include in your packets, you should have the continued information. Basically, all that is a breakdown of the funding, so, or how it's gonna be broke out and distributed. Really, I'm just here for any other questions that you might have. I'll try to answer them the best I can, otherwise we might have to consult with Julie or Juliana. But just looking to move forward.
Anybody have any questions for Chief Martinson?
This answered everything we asked for last time, that I asked for last time, so I appreciate it. I appreciate the,
We need a motion on that.
To approve the resolution.
Okay. We need a motion to approve the resolution.
I would make that motion.
Moved by Capps,
I'll second that.
second by Ingers. How do you vote? Caldwell?
I'll abstain.
Capps?
Yes?
Ingers?
Yes.
Nelson?
Yes.
Russell?
Yes.
Thanks, Chief. All right, B, City.
More general, all-encompassing local government legal services. So you have 3 different proposals from 3 different attorneys. You can approve one of them, you can get no action, it is up to you.
I definitely appreciate you reaching out. Just my thought on that, if it wasn't, if I didn't maybe clarify it. I believe having services in one place helps us because you're only going to one firm. I'm not saying that other firms are not capable of handling anything. I'm sure they're very capable. It's just that you're going to cut down on, well, you have to call this one, then you have to call this one, then they send you back to this one, and I've experienced that with different firms. You go back and forth. I did see the proposal from Rick Gentry in there. It's very comparable to the other ones. Again, it cuts down on the back and forth through different firms. My feeling is that we should also look at not following, or they've been capable of handling the different business on each side. And then you just kind of keep all your boats going in the same direction, is my thought on that, so. That's what I'd recommend. In fact, I'd make that motion that we would go with on that.
There's a motion on the table to go with Rick Gentry, moved by Cabo. Do I have a second? Okay, no second, the motion dies. What other discussion do you guys have?
I think from my opinion, I think that we're comfortable with the attorney we have now, and to change when we don't have a city administrator seems a little bit more risky to me. That's timing. I think I would like us to stay with our current attorney, but I also do like the option of having someone that specializes in HR as well. I think that Dwayne does a great job of referring us when he knows we need to be referred, so for me, it's just timing, and I would like, I mean, I'm leaning more towards choosing an HR attorney and keeping our current firm that we have a contract with.
Any more discussion?
I agree with Angie.
I think between the 2 attorneys that represent HR. I felt like the proposal from Hopkins and Hubner felt a little more inclusive to me. I don't know if I know exactly why if you were asked, but that's the one that I was leaning towards.
Any other discussion?
Will we be passing any of our current legal situations over to Hopkins and Huebner? Because I think we have Allers Cooney actually handling one for us right at this time. Would we be moving that?
I'd say they need to probably, I guess in my opinion, they need to finish all loose ends, I guess, whatever they're involved in. Yeah, and I think that's on the ending stages of things as well, where they're at, so.
So should we, how long before that's wrapped up, do you think? Like, can we push this off a month on deciding this?
I would probably feel comfortable saying so.
Okay.
Yeah, that's up to you guys.
Yeah,
I'll make a motion.
I don't think we're in any hurry.
I'll make the motion to table this for next month.
I'll second that.
Okay. Motion by Nelson, second by Cobal. How do you vote? Cobal?
Yes.
Caps?
Yes.
Ingworth?
Yes.
Nelson?
Yes.
Russell?
Yes.
Okay. All right, C, review and consideration of cemetery committee bylaws, code of conduct, and confidentiality statement. I'll turn it over to Mrs. Caps.
So we had some changes that were requested last time. I just have a clean copy I sent you guys. I think you all had time to read them. Essentially what we did is we took the reporting structure out that included the council. There's no liaison from the council on the committee, and the cemetery coordinator and the committee would report to the city administrator. And I think I saw my,
Mr.
did I?
Johnson is.
There he is.
Go.
Did I miss anything? Anything you want to add? Okay. Okay. So I think we're just looking for these, either if we need more amendments made to them, or if we can approve them as is, then Sarah will send them off to the attorney for final review.
I'll make a motion that we can forward them on then.
Okay, motion by Cobal,
Second.
second by Nelson. How do you vote? Cobal?
Yes.
Caps?
Yes.
Ingworth?
Yes.
Nelson?
Yes.
Russell?
Yes.
Okay. All right, D, citywide transition to Stuart, Iowa.gov email domain. I'll turn it over to Mr. Russell.
I apologize, I thought I had my printouts here, but I've got it all digitally. So I did do a little bit more looking into this. So basically, just again, to provide a little bit of a history on this and where I'm basing a lot of my information on. I did talk to a couple communities on kind of what they do. Also, my history of being in the field of IT, I have worked at the city of Des Moines in their IT department. I did a contract there for 6 months, so I have experience in how a larger city works. Obviously, that's out of scope of what we're going to do because we're not going to hire, 50 plus IT employees. But I've also worked for a managed service provider, which is kind of along the lines of some of the quotes that we were originally supplied with. Those are firms that provide IT services to, small businesses or other businesses, municipalities, cities. In my experience of working at an MSP, I know I had a couple of my primary clients were small communities that I provided service to. And talking with that specific MSP, I did talk with them about kind of where they're sitting at, and they still have, 30 plus small communities around the state of Iowa that they do business with that range anywhere from a few hundred employees, or a few hundred citizens to, a few thousand citizens. So kind of in the range of where we're looking at for our size of a community. So the services MSPs typically provide, they're gonna have your contract, as needed. Kind of like we have approved, I believe, the Panora services. We can contact if we have an IT problem that internal staff's not able to resolve on an as-needed basis. You can go as far as having prepaid hours that you can consume, or a contract that states, you know, they will be out there weekly, monthly, quarterly, yearly, whatever, to take a look at your services. Again, I don't know how much of that we generally need, and that's, you know, I don't believe we really contact Panora much, or any of those services we've had in the past. We've never really reached out to them very often, it seems like. Am I correct in saying that?
We just live with small issues.
So, again, the services that going above and beyond what we're looking at with this email transition would be beyond that. But, again, going back and kind of focusing more on that part of it, again, talking with them, it's kind of what you want. There is no set in stone version. You know, there's a lot of them that they have Google or they have Microsoft. That's the two big players out there. You know, looking through the quotes, we had numbers for email only, and that provided your email address, that provided a web version of your Microsoft Office products, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, etc., and that also provided access to Microsoft Teams, so you can have inter-office communication via instant message, along with 1 terabyte storage per person of OneDrive in this case. This is all Microsoft pricing. There is that was like $6 something a month. I'd have to look back. It was like $6.20 or something along those. There is a slightly more expensive version of that. It was $12 something a month. That would provide basically the same services, but would allow you to have an installed version that most people are used to of Word, Excel, PowerPoint, etc. Most people don't need that. I know the chief, in talking with him, he said you had difficulties with using the web client, so you guys do use the installed version, which is understandable. There are going to be some incompatibilities you might face that some people might need that, but as a general rule, most people get away without it. I mean, I know at work I do a lot of stuff inside of Word and Excel. I use the web version. I have no issues. So, you know, I think from that point, it's kind of on us as a council to work, or myself, whatever, to work with the departments and get that final count of who really needs that email address, who doesn't, do they really need the installed version or not, and kind of take it from there. I mean, we still will need a company to help us out with setting up the tenant to make sure that we are PCI/CGIS compliance. Pretty much if you're CGI, you're going to be CGIS compliance in the end. And Dave's got his own rules, and I believe we've probably got something in place that designates our PCI compliance. I mean, we should have something like that, correct? Do we?
I don't know, you're speaking a different language.
Okay. So, you know, it's basically security around sending protected information, you know, not sending out social security numbers, credit card information, stuff like that inside of documents or email that's not encrypted and secured. I mean, really, you shouldn't be sending that information out anyways. You know, so that's the police department, how their own policies around that. They don't email any of that stuff. That is strictly paper printed, took in places, stuff like that. So by putting that configuration in place, it does help to protect. It doesn't make it perfect. You know, so obviously you need your own written compliance around that, which there's standard things out there for that. But again, going back to having someone set up that email tenant to do that, and then probably a once-a-year audit on that to review any of the changes that have come out and to make sure that we are still compliant in the end with that would be recommended. And again, that is going to be based off of what was in here. You know, it's pretty well ballpark for what it's going to cost, I believe. I guess what else?
So would it be safe to say, Mr. Russell, that you, with a little more time on your part, you can get with the department heads and get a count
Yes.
of all this stuff and maybe come back and say, here's what my recommendation is to the city council, we should do X, Y, Z,
Yep.
this is what we need, and then, because I'll be honest with you, you're talking way over my head as well, I'm not that computer savvy, so, but yeah, if you could do that, that would be great, and just
Yes.
kind of do a little more research or
Yep,
give me
I
a little more
can,
time for that.
I can definitely put stuff together, and I know Matt, we talked the other day, and I'll work with him to help put a proposal together that we can send out to the companies that we had information from, and also put it out there and reach out to a few more just to see if there's any other competitive bids on the hourly part of setting up the tenant and, you know, a yearly audit of that and making sure everything looks good. beyond that, I mean, I would say not something we need to look at right now, but other things that I believe we should be looking at, you know, are things such as hardware lifecycle management. I know some of our departments have PCs that are well beyond their age, and in less than a year, we're going to be seeing Windows 10 becoming end of life. I mean, it technically already is, but they did extend updates for one more year if you click to accept that option. So getting off of an end of life operating system is going to be important. If the hardware is not compatible for that, you're going to have to get a new piece of hardware to do that. Looking at other options, do we need a managed end user protection, i.e. antivirus? Maybe, maybe not. You know, that was something very common I deployed out to a lot of the clients I had in other cities and municipalities. You know, what are our LAN and WAN connectivity options here between all of our buildings, and how does that all work? Is there a way we can save money on that, and kind of looking at those things, and, you know, is there an option to improve that and reduce costs there? You know, and then again, just a hardware and software review. Are we paying for software we really don't need to be paying for? Things like that. I mean, these are things that I think are best left until the new city administrator comes in, they get their feet wet, and we have time to kind of look into this and see where they're feeling on that and kind of go from there. But we can definitely continue on with the email portion of it.
Okay.
And try to get that consolidated and get some proposals out there
Okay.
for the monthly cost and the cost to set up the tenant and to maintain that yearly.
Okay. we'll go
So I
ahead
should be able to have that next month or so.
Okay. We'll
Depends on
table
how
this until
quickly.
next month. Thank you, sir. All right, Eat Central Mart Travel America tip application. Matt, you gonna talk on behalf?
Yes, Kurt Peterson is an associate of the Central Mark project. He did ask to be on the agenda, but they wanted to slow it down a little bit. Also, I would like to take this time to mention that I've heard about some social media activity. I'm going to reiterate, the city council is not asked to make any decisions in the workshop. Nobody was asked to make any decisions. And it's before you again today, and not asking you to make any decisions whether to move forward with TIF or anything on this project. Asking for some direction. Okay? At the February 12th workshop, council requested additional traffic data before providing further direction on the proposed TIF structure for the Central Mark Travel America project. The data has been compiled and summarized in your packet.
Down the specific data required to move forward. To provide the most relevant traffic analysis for the Central Lunch Travelers.
Happens to the best of us, eh?
The purpose of tonight's discussion is not to approve or deny the project. It is to clarify where we are in the review process and determine next procedural steps. Since the workshop, existing DOT traffic volumes have been reviewed. City collected intersection counts have been summarized. The developer's trip generation assessment has been reviewed. Preliminary DOT coordination regarding potential signalization has continued. At this time, no formal DOT determination has been issued requiring signalization or geometric changes. However, traffic conditions may meet the peak hour that warrants thresholds. Some of the traffic counts. I-80 near exit 93, there's approximately 12,000 to 14,000 vehicles per day. According to Central Mark Travel America, the estimated total daily trips to their location estimated at 5,895, almost 6,000. With their peak hours between 5:30 a.m. and 4 o'clock p.m. think some of the questions to ask are, under what conditions should the city provide tax increment participation? My role tonight is to provide clarity and facilitate direction so that discussions can proceed in an orderly and fiscally responsible manner. So, and Ender is here tonight. I don't know if you'd like to have an opportunity to speak or.
Sure.
So I'll allow him to speak. So just asking for some direction to continue from the workshop session.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Matt.
Mhm.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, City Council. My name is Inder Singh. I'm the gentleman who trying to start a construction on this 21 acre to bring a travel center America to Stuart. A little bit background. I came to America 1989. I'm in Iowa since 1993. We based out of Storm Lake. I started with one store. We own and operate over 40 sites throughout Iowa and Kansas. We have a travel center America in Kansas, Hutchinson, Kansas, right now, working. This project, when we took over this store, we tried to help it, tried to clean it up, it stopped working right, then all of a sudden Quick Start come. Then the restaurant gone, then we acquired that. Then this doesn't work out for us because we are no competition with, Quick Start. So Travel Center America approached me at that time. They say, this is the location we love, we looking for discount, you have the property, can you do this for us? That was a big opportunity for me. So we took that. So they want me to acquire other 15 acre, which is I did. So we have 21 acre now. I never built a brand new site of my life. This is my first project. I did a lot of remodels. I know a lot about construction, a lot of acquiring land, buying store, selling store, but I never done this kind of project. So I am not an attorney. I don't know how TIF works. I don't know how this whole thing works. It's very simple. To me, it comes very simple. Because we done one project down in Webster City just a few months ago. I took over one of the sites, and city approached me, matter of fact. The city manager called actually Lewis, and he's doing the demo, he's working on that site. He said, we want to be involved in this. We want to know what's going on here. It happened 2 months ago. So we got approached. They said, what is your total project cost? So this is where TIF I learned first time. When we sat with them, he said, what are you bringing in? I said, I'm bringing in Arby's, Dunkin' Donuts. This property even sit there empty for 3 years almost, gone bankrupt, best location. He said, what can you do? I say, I show him my plans, show him our renderings, show the whole 9 yards, traffic counts, studies. That's what we had. He said, if you're gonna spend this kind of money, we have a TIF available. They issue us $1.2 million in TIF within a minute. We got in front of the city council. We did the same process, basically. At that time, we didn't have an attorney involved. It was me and Lewis and the city manager. When we came here, because this is a bigger project, it's over $20 million project. I hired an attorney who filed the application. There is some confusion going on. In my mind right now, I think TIF increment is to help new business to start up and help the city. It is not burden on the city. It shouldn't be burden on the city, the way I understand. Maybe I'm wrong, so please, keep me on the side for that. So then we meet Mr. Matt, Chip Schmidt, I think he's a city gentleman who,
Yep.
right, so he's working with Matt and the attorney. So they're figuring out how to go forward, because a lot of the things here got approached differently than what we seen. The numbers kind of done, not making sense to anybody. I'm just here today to introduce myself and want to thank you guys. I want to start this project. This is between the city and the attorney and Mr. Matt and Mr. Chip's study. Whatever it comes to, I'm okay with it. Right now, city makes around $14,000 to $15,000 on this property tax, right? That's the average. If I take down the properties, take down the pump, that's what I have to clear anyway, regardless if I do this project or not. Maybe tax goes to half, right? So if I spend $20 million, and based on $20 million, let's say my valuation, because you cannot put $20 million on the book, only thing you can do is the structure, not the movable stuff. So let's say property value comes in 10 million, 11 million, 12, whatever it is, right? Based on that, the property tax get collected. Who's the benefit? That's the question I want you to ask. That's it. I think that's very simple. Maybe Luis has something to say here. He asked me to talk. But again, these guys are working on the back channel. I think next council meeting, they will have the whole picture in front of you guys. So hope I made a little understanding. Thank you so much for you guys' time.
Thank you, sir. Luis?
Hey, how you doing, guys? So I just did something might want to share with you guys. So it's exactly the same stuff that you guys see on the TIF application and the study they did. So it's basically to clarify a little bit what's been talking and what's on that. 'Cause, so I've been hearing he asking for 60% of the TIF money, which TIF money means the total project is 21 million, but it's TIF money is based on the tax value, right? So the tax value they initially say it says 8.7 millions. Whenever that happens, it has to be lower, but it can be higher. It can be 15 millions because it's not done yet. Who's designed the tax value? It's the tax assessor, the county gonna make the tax value on that one. So whenever they do that, so the tax increment on the property is 400. So right now it's 15,447, the tax value. So whenever that happens, the property is done, so the value of the property is going to be 238,360 based on 8.7, which I think is gonna be higher. So if the city is gonna be get 83,000 a year versus the TA is gonna get 154 on 8.7. If you guys flip the page, another page, it's on basically the same as the evaluation on Quick Start, which is $395 per square on 26,000 square feet. So it's 10,270,000, which makes the 126 for the city, 150 for the TA, which it makes their recap money to the city is gonna be 54%. So 46% for the city, 54 for the TA on the first 20 years. It's still, if he started the building down there, we don't gonna get anything. Still 15,000 or less if he tear down the building, and this is what we're gonna get. So I think on the 65%, so basically he asking 30% of the total project, which is 3 millions, and on a 10 million total project. So I don't know, I just want to clarify a little bit the what, because whenever they did the math, they say 65%, but it's 65% what it come back. But basically, TIF money he asking is 30%. Based on 8.7 million, but can be 15, can be 16, whenever it's done. Sounds good.
Anybody have any questions for this team so far?
Matt, did you see a copy of that?
No. So, no, I haven't, but we had a conversation. Ender and Luis and I and Chip, which this should have been in your packet, okay? So they were initially asking on their TIF application they presumed that their taxable value would be at 8.7 million. And they were asking for 3 million in TIF.
May I interrupt you? Okay, because I kind of got to go through this for me. So 8.7 million, okay, how much tax is generated on that?
That's what it is on the end, it's 4.7 on the 20-year.
Okay, but, okay.
Yearly is
So-
38,000.
So, is that accurate, Matt? Is it 200? So, because I don't know about anybody else, maybe you guys understand this, and if you do, help me out. It's got city and developer, so is the total tax each year on 8.7 million, 238,000? Is that right?
I am understanding that, yes.
Okay, that's just what I want to be clear.
Okay. So they are willing to have a written amendment to the application and asking to have that minimum assessed value at 10 million, which improves the numbers a little bit better on that end of things.
And that's to be more comparable with Quick Star, right? That's why that rate.
Okay.
Yeah, the second comparable with Quick Start.
So CHIP's 65% is based on the increment increase. That's why CHIP has a 65% increment.
But that's not the requesting money, it's the increment.
Yeah. So, but Central Mark, the way they see it, is that they're asking for 30%.
Of the total,
Of
not the
the
increment.
total, yeah.
To make it simple.
Yes. So, just trying to help us some of the clarity on that.
Can you do, so TIF is tax increment, not total tax.
Yes.
Because you can't TIF the first, so if this valuation is 554, we don't get that. We can't TIF that.
Correct.
It has to be the increment. We can't do the full amount.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, no, the 554 has to be go away.
Yeah, so it would always be on the increment. Has to be on the increment.
Yeah, but it's based on the total project value, because it should be 18 to 21 millions. So the some stuff is not taxable, like whatever is mobile, like the scales and the stuff like that. So it's no like tax value for assets.
Any
So,
movable.
any movable stuff. So this is what they only taxable for they do like 0.7, but I think the valuation is still pretty low. So after that, I think the valuation is going to be higher still than Quick Start.
So what he's trying to tell you is that the assessed value could actually be higher
Sure.
than the minimum assessed value that they will contractually agree to. That's possible. Not saying that's definitely gonna happen. I'm not gonna say it's a high possibility of happening. There is a possibility of that.
Right,
Okay.
sure, that's what you, that could be.
So then also, Kurt with I don't know, he's
Pusinelli.
with the law firm Pusinelli or something out of Kansas City, and he provided an agreement. Now, in the TIF agreement, it states and informs the applicant that they will be required to pay for all legal fees. They have provided an agreement up front, if the city wanted to agree to that where they would put up $10,000 to pay for legal and CHIPS fees and pay all of that up in advance. Instead of, typically, City of Stuart has taken a risk. Generally, we don't get anything this big. And in the past, we have withheld those legal fees out of their first installment. So henceforth, that's been why I've been submitting you so much information, trying to get some direction, trying to determine if you wanted to go and proceed with discussions deeper and then go into bond council because of the cost that the city bears. They are willing to pay that up front. But this was not in your packet, it was not on the agenda, so you can't vote on it.
That doesn't really gain us much, right? They're still paying for it in the end.
Right, that's what I was just gonna say. You're taking it out, they're paying for it up front, it's the same.
Yeah, it's, so I guess I'm not really concerned with that.
Anybody else have any questions for Matt or?
I have one question, Matt. You mentioned an amendment to the TIF application. Is there a reason that it couldn't just be a clean, new application that isn't amended? It feels like this has gotten gray over the months, and I'm just wondering if is there a reason they couldn't just submit another application?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I think it won't be a problem.
Okay. It feels cleaner to me than something that is amended.
Okay. So, the CHIP is willing to run new numbers, but CHIP, we've actually taken a stretch preparing the numbers that he has prepared. So I don't know if you even want him to run numbers yet, or work on a revised application.
I think the application stays the same, ma'am, maybe. Just the amendment mean, Mr. Mayor asked if the valuation cannot be from 8.7 million, if it goes higher, we shouldn't argue it. That's what the point was. So I think that's the only amendment Mr. Mayor asked us to do at that day. So I don't see any harm to it, because it's gonna goes to a city assessors, basically. They're the one who's gonna come up with the valuation. How they do it, you guys probably know better than I do on that. They can come up with 5 million, or they can come up 15 million, right? So that's the gap there is that we need to decide and go through it.
But it's a minimum mass.
There should be a minimum cap on it.
So you talked about a minimum assessment like we do with other ones. What, has there been a number thought of what that might be?
Well, with the application, the current applications in place, the minimum assessment would be the 8.7 million.
Okay. But you said something could be higher too.
Yeah,
They might agree to
but we can match it to Quick Star, it'll be 10.2. That's the second page that you guys got.
If they, wanted to do comparable numbers with the Quick Star, they could increase that to 10 million. And, we could potentially make a minimum assessment 50 million, but there's, who wants to pay tax on 50 million?
So last time the council had requested to wait to make a decision until you receive the results of the traffic study. Forrest, do you know when that might be available?
So we have requested that the traffic study is the responsibility of Travel America. And so we requested that traffic study from Travel America, and we've not yet received that.
Okay.
Matt, is that on work? Is the traffic study, I thought, you just mentioned.
The number I gave was the trips that
Okay.
they believe.
Travel America provided the traffic counts and the trips,
Okay, that's,
but they've not provided a complete traffic
I
study.
think we
yet.
have it, so we will get it to you pretty quick here.
Okay, all right, thank you.
So, you want traffic study results, and then more discussion? Is there,
I mean, we're gonna need to know what needs done to the road, right? And if that's coming out of us, or if we're gonna negotiate with the VA.
Is that all we're waiting on? I thought you said, Matt, that we didn't have any action to take tonight, and that it would be back next month, so.
I think Mr. Funk is looking for a little more direction. Like, what
That's
does
not
the
making a
council want him
decision.
to do? Like, I feel like Matt's kind of at a standstill, like, he's looking for that guidance of what you guys are wanting, and everything else too, so.
We all are, guys, so let's, it's okay, I guess, Mr. Funk as I am, so we wanna move forward with the right path. We don't wanna break anybody's heart. I just wanna do the right thing. Please consider that for me.
One more thing Mr. Inder wants, willing to do in town, it's, he gonna need, employees. There's gonna be 80-something employees, 70 to 80 employees. So he's looking to build also in town, so it will be another tax remaining back in the
Create
town.
housing, create, apartments, but 80 employees not gonna come out of Stuart at this time, we all know that. We have franchise, they asking us, I can bring in any franchise out of US. We couldn't, just because they want 40 to 60 people right there the opening day. I said, man, 60 people in our town live sometime, come on. We can't find people in Iowa that big. So that's the issue. The major issue is we can create the work, but employment is so tough. Whenever we're gonna bring people from Des Moines or whatever, they all wanna live around by. That's what my experience is, that's what we're doing with Webster City, Storm Lake, you name it, all over. We have to buy houses or apartments or something. That's the other thing to consider as well too.
I have a question for some of my, for my council people. Okay, if you know, let me know. What is that 83,000?
That's what, as far as I know, that's what we would keep out of that 238,000, so they would get.
So it's matching this number?
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
It's from my.
It can be, I just put that number, but it can be more than less, so it will be
No, you're fine.
middle
It's just-
number.
On something like this is me, I'm not speaking for the rest of the council, I'm a little slow with numbers, and I need to have it labeled on what it is, because it said property tax, I'm like 83 on.
Well, this is,
27.
yeah,
That's
this is,
just what we would keep.
yeah, this is what we keep in city, and every year versus what we keep in right now, which is 15,000. If we do that on the valuation 8.7, we're gonna get 83, but if the valuation is gonna be 10 millions, we're gonna keep 126, which makes a big, huge difference too.
So is this whole, okay, so you have the tax of 200 and some odd thousand, right? That's gotta be captured by TIF, right? To rebate it?
Yes.
Okay, so consider this. We don't get 83,000, right? Do we?
Yeah, we do.
Because, well, hang on a second. Let me, I'm trying to think about this. So they get the whole thing. We lose some of that in our general fund though, don't we? And don't we have to have I'm trying to think of how that's gonna work.
And Chip said he would be available by phone.
That would probably, because normally when you TIF something, you lose 1/3 of that money in your general fund.
Oh,
Okay?
Yeah,
So, and I think I might have asked Chip this at one point, and he was like, yeah, you wouldn't get the full 80, because, so that's a question. On that, because it's all TIF money, right? It's all TIF money. We don't get any of that. If the full 238 was just tax, we get about 80,000 of that, approximately, the 83, right? We would get that in our general fund, because that's the 1/3 that would come to us. But if it's TIF, where does it go?
So I think the direction that Matt's looking for is, for next month's meeting, he needs to have the final traffic study to present to the
Okay.
council. He needs to have a clean, new TIF application with a new $10 million minimum assessment agreement in there. And then he also needs to work with Chip to get the revised numbers, the financial projections, so that the city knows exactly what we're looking at.
Right. And I kind of want to know how that, that's just me, it's like, where does that money go if it's all TIF? So would we be getting any of this in our general fund to use, or would we have to have a project to use it on? You know, how does that work? See what I'm saying?
Good question. That I don't know the answer to.
Yeah, that's fine. So put that in there too, so, because,
Yep, got it.
We'll ask Chip that question.
yeah, yeah, that's definitely some chips.
I mean, to my understanding too, you know, this wasn't traditional TIF is what we're used to. It's also more of a rebate on the back end. And so it changes things up, so that may change, we get some more of this versus not getting some more of this. And those are questions that Chip's gotta answer, 'cause I mean, talking to him when we had our little committee meeting on this, you know, this seems to be a common approach that's used around other communities, especially in the Des Moines area. It's heavily used, so, you know, this is not something new that we're experiencing, it's just new to us. So we just need to better understand that from Chip. In the end, yeah, what is gonna be that actually ends up in our general fund or wherever that we get to utilize, or does anything really end up like
Yeah,
it's
that's
potentially being
basically
mentioned?
the question is, do
Yeah.
we actually get that? And again, that's just based on my limited knowledge of TIF.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, thank
Sounds
you.
good. Thanks, Matt. All right, moving on. F, nuisance abatement for municipal infractions, 616 North Fremont Street. So there a while back, you guys remember, the Dawsons came in, there was a hearing on that, and Harrison was here too, to speak. Just for information, because I know there's new council members here, when there's a hearing like that, we have to provide Harrison with direction on where to go, what to do. And I think you guys just thought it was just informational, and that's not the case. So Harrison asked me if I could bring that up to the council again, to clarify what you would like him to do. If you'd like to proceed with what he was doing with that address, or what you guys wanted to do. So I'll leave it up to you guys for discussion.
We don't have, I believe we don't have anything in here of what that previously was. And
No, not where he was standing at with everything.
And I believe that address received a new, lots of, new notice of things that need taken care of after our meeting, so there's additional things on there that they had called out.
Okay.
I don't know what the status of that is either.
Okay. So,
I just think he needs to follow the process.
Yeah,
I mean, that's the simple answer.
Move forward.
Whatever's going on, just follow the process, let it work out.
okay.
Because we shouldn't be making a decision and saying, well, whatever, you know. Sometimes we can do that, but follow the
Okay.
process.
Okay. Also with, why we're on this, the nuisance abatements, there are, and I'm in the process to get you guys some more information. That is one thing that, you guys don't have, to see where properties are and everything else, as well. So I'm gonna be making a spreadsheet and kind of show you guys where everything's at. Tentatively, there are 10 properties now that's ready for cleanup. And we do, so how that works is the property will get cleaned up, the property owner will get billed. If they don't pay the bill, then it gets assessed to their taxes. So,
And we pay that in the meantime?
yes,
Okay.
up front.
Okay.
Yep. So currently, we got 10 residents on there, and we do have a bid for a company that will come in and clean it up for $5,000. So it's just FYI, we don't need a motion or nothing.
For
on
all
that.
10 properties?
For all 10.
Okay.
So that was just informational. I don't need a motion or nothing. We're gonna proceed with that. So, okay. All right. Number 8, new business. Town Cleanup Day, April 25th and 26th, 2026. I'll turn it over to Dick and Bob Cook.
Thank you. I saw the length of your agenda. I'll speak quick and get out of here. I want to remind, because there's some new members, this is Town Cleanup 2026, April 24th, 25th, is our 8th one. It it was approved last summer. We had to go ahead early because we had to work with Adair County. We got them to agree to be open on Saturday morning for our needs. So it's been approved, my brother, we're gonna again take out tons and tons of stuff like we've done, and with the help of thankfully, the West Central Valley FFA, there's probably my eyesight and body's declining a little bit. This will be my last year of this. But I'm glad that we got involved in 2018 and resurrected this. It's been a decade. I think it's helped make the town better, and I'm thankful for the council's approval, and hope it's able to continue, because town, there's people on your list that may bring some stuff, and that's always a positive. So I just want to remind everybody we're rolling ahead, and the city people as well. Dick
And
had a
hopefully,
request.
you'll go ahead and reimburse me for the water, Gatorade, and donuts I supply for the FFA kids. They left out a ton of garbage out of here. And then, Sarah, can you make 20 copies of that, so I can spread them around town? And make sure Harrison has that, so every place that he's hitting up, he can tell them up. Thank you.
Okay. And we appreciate you guys
Yep.
doing this as well, so,
Thank you very much.
thank you.
Do we know what the cost has been over the last 5 years? Last year even?
Gosh, don't hold me to it, but I wanted to say like 4,000 or 5,000 maybe.
Isn't Corey, I saw Corey. Do
Yeah.
you remember how much it's costed over the years or last year, what you?
I wanna say my portion's been around that 3 to 4.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought it was something like that.
Yeah.
And then you have landfill fees on top of that.
Yeah. So, yeah, I wanna say it was like 5 or something.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Okay. Perfect. All right, police department, police fleet replacement and equipment, plan, Chief Rial.
Okay, just making sure I'm giving you guys the right stuff here.
Thank you.
Okay, so, I had put some things in the packet. Hopefully you all had a chance to review that. At the time, I had talked to the mayor, and we were still working on getting precise numbers, things like that. Building vehicles can be a little tricky when it comes to emergency vehicles, because there's so many different vendors that have to work together, all these moving pieces, and so it just takes a little while to get all those numbers. I've got them now. I did want to go over a couple things with you guys real quick, and then also, Jacob Madsen is here from, I said that right? Right? From Carl. He was gonna explain some things to you as well, if you had any questions. The current vehicle fleet that we have right now, the 2 Silverados that are basically our regular patrol vehicles, they are now coming up on 6 years old. For vehicles, especially when we only have 2 and we're sharing them quite often, those vehicles get a lot of miles put on them, they get a lot of wear and tear. So obviously, police vehicles aren't really intended to last much longer than that, and we're kind of at our lifespan on them. For those of you that were on the council when we purchased those, you'll probably remember me saying that one of the goals that I was trying to do with that was to get a little creative with our financing on them, because if we trade them in while they're still worth money, that actually allows us to have some equity, and we can reuse that money on the flip side when we go to purchase new vehicles. Traditionally, since I've been here, we've held on to vehicles for sometimes up to 12, 13 years, and by the time that they're that old, we don't get anything for trade-in. We're lucky when the dealership will give us $100 for them, because they're just not worth anything. So in order to keep this moving, we really have to trade them in while they're still worth something, and I think Jacob would probably be able to explain that a lot better than I can. So the form that I just gave you, I did want to point out a couple things, because I know when people think of vehicles, it's real easy to forget that these are our offices. So there's so much more involved in this than just a vehicle with wheels on it. This is also how we purchase our new computers for the department. This is also how we purchase our radar units. This is also how we purchase, you know, all of the equipment that we use in a day-to-day, just doing our job, we purchase with these vehicles. So when we have to wait 12, 13 years to replace them, it's like saying you have to wait 12 to 13 years to replace all of your equipment, all of your technology, all that kind of stuff. So what really kind of brought us on here and now, we've here recently in the last couple months started having some maintenance issues with particularly one of the trucks, and it's starting to eat up a lot of our costs. So one of the benefits to having a newer fleet is obviously you don't have those maintenance costs, especially when they're within 4 years old, because all the manufacturer warranties, all that kind of stuff, everything's covered. The only thing you're really going to be needing to spend money on is tires, brakes, and oil changes. Increasing our fleet, there's been a whole bunch of studies done on this, and I don't want to bore you with the details, but essentially, when you have more vehicles, they last a little bit longer because they're not getting used as often. When you're sharing a vehicle between 2 or 3 officers, that vehicle tends not to last as long. When you have one vehicle per officer, they last a little bit longer. I talked earlier about the equity and earning back interest payments. So obviously, the newer fleet, the newer we keep our fleet, the more we get back when we do trade-ins. So, for instance, with these 3 vehicles, if we were to trade them in 4 years, we'd be looking at a minimum of $25,000 per vehicle value coming back to us on the next purchase each. So you'd be looking at a minimum of 75. Obviously those numbers can be more, can be depending on what all is in them when we trade them in. The other thing, and you guys talked about it here just earlier about our technology needs. We're currently at the end of life on a lot of our computers. All the computers that we have in our car right now, they're all at that end of life stage where we need to get them replaced in the next year or 2. This allows us to replace 2 of them right now. Those computers with all the equipment they come with are $5,300 a piece. So when we have to replace 6 of those, it's going to be a pretty expensive cost. So if we can start to use some of these vehicle purchases to also purchase those computers, then that allows us to save money later on when we're needing to replace the remaining computers. Locking in current pricing, as we all know, inflation keeps going up. I was actually just told 2 or 3 days ago by our radio guy that Motorola radio prices are going up 20% in April of this year. So even just in the next month, some of the stuff that's on this list is going to go up by 20%. So obviously, as the years go on over the next 4 years with inflation costs, each year we purchase a vehicle, it gets a little more expensive, not just for the price of the vehicle, but for the price of the equipment. So this allows us to purchase all 3 of those vehicles now before inflation hits off. We get locked into those prices. And that's not just on the vehicle, but also on equipment. So we don't get hurt later on down the road on inflation costs. Any questions on that stuff so far? So that last page that you probably guys, all of you are looking at, these are the figures for the 3. The equipment is everything including lights, the computer, printers. It's the general upfit that we would normally put into a police car, the prisoner cage, things like that. Whenever you think of a police car, the radio, you can see the prices there. That 3rd vehicle, anytime you see transfer, that means we're reusing that from an existing vehicle. That's why there's no price there. The Axon camera, we only have 3, so we'd have to purchase 2 cameras. They're listed there. And then decals, and then a trade-in cost. So overall, you've got your grand total. And then I don't want to do a disservice to this, so I'll have Jacob explain this here in a minute. But through Ruan, they call it a lease. It's kind of, in my understanding, more of a financing. But this is the 4-year breakdown that you can see. That's what we would be paying each year. For those 3 vehicles over a 4-year period. At the end of that 4 years, the vehicles are ours, we own them. So that keeps us within that budget number that I requested to have on our budget. that you guys looked at a couple months ago. Really the negative side to, financing the vehicles in this matter, the only real negative benefit, or the only real negative effect is the interest, which you're gonna see regardless of whether you do a rule-on lease or you go through a bank financing, you're gonna have interest payments, obviously. But what a lot of people don't think about is at the end of that 4-year cycle, with the equity that we get back on those vehicles, and the maintenance costs that we're saving from, having newer vehicle fleets, that interest is actually, reimbursed through both of those things, and then some.
Chief, have you contacted First Aid Bank to see what they
Yep.
would do for us as well?
I talked to Marty Dowd, and he did give me a 6.5% number. He's out of the office today, so he was not able to look at the specific numbers because we just finalized these, but he did say 6.5. And then, if you guys don't have any questions for me, I would like if Jacob could come up here and maybe explain some of this to you all better than I can.
Okay.
I had one question that
Yeah.
jumped out at me. You had no decals on vehicle one. Is there a reason why we wouldn't put decals on a vehicle?
There's a multitude of reasons. It really kind of depends on kind of a lot of different factors. The one that we currently have that's unmarked, it's there's some savings there. Obviously, you don't have to pay for the decals, things like that. There are times where that can, come in beneficial for the work that we do. There's, differing opinions on that. Some people don't agree with it, some people do agree with it. I've always been, one of those that thinks that at least having the option to have one of our vehicles that way, I know departments where literally all of them are done that way. Or, I'm thinking, Panora just kind of updated their fleet, and they're all what they call ghost decals, so they look unmarked until you see them from a certain angle. But their entire department went that way, and I'm not a big fan of that. I think that the majority of our cars should be marked because it's a deterrent, just having the cars floating around the town and even parked in a driveway.
Yeah.
But there are definitely times where, depending on an investigation that we're working on, whether it could be traffic enforcement all the way to even, drug investigations, things where it does come in handy to have a vehicle that doesn't scream, I'm a police officer. So it also makes sense because there's a lot of trips that we take that people probably don't even realize. Our laboratory that we take all of our evidence to is in Ankeny. We have to physically drive that stuff there. You have no idea how many times I'll get a phone call. Why was the Stuart police car in Ankeny? Why is it driving around in Des Moines? And so, that vehicle can get down there, drop off evidence, come back, there's no questions. I'm not saying that that's why we would justify it, but that's definitely one of the benefits to it. So.
Okay.
Sarah, maybe you can help me out with this. You said this was already in your budget, these payments?
So this is what we requested for in our budget.
Was the
a couple months ago.
80,000?
The 80,000.
Yeah.
Which is under the operations part, which goes to support salaries, paper, pennies, tasers, things like that. I would like to refer this to CHIP to look at other ways to finance it. It would not be coming out of the operations budget.
Right, because I know I looked on here and I was just trying to remember where it was, and if it's coming out of your operations, you're gonna be taking money away from your officers, because that's salaries and stuff like that.
So at that meeting when that was discussed and I approached the council, and the mayor was right next to me as we were going over that, I asked specifically that $80,000 was budgeted for vehicles and vehicles alone, and Ash said yes. That's exactly what he said.
What I remember that being a line item there.
At that time, we were also discussing financing, the street truck, possibly tree projects, and I believe that the police vehicles were going to be included in that. And the council did not proceed with that, they just proceeded with the insurance borrowing, which is why I think this should go to CHIP.
Gotcha. Yeah, I remember when you passed that.
we were wanting something to come back on that, is what I would almost remember us.
Yeah, I'd agree with you on that. I'm a little foggy on
Definitely,
that,
yeah.
but yeah, I thought that this 80,000 was included in that, and it was.
I mean, even if you were to look at the proposal that I submitted to the council, it very clearly spells out that I'm asking for $80,000 for vehicles. And if you recall in that meeting, I was told several times by the city administrator that I was getting exactly what I was asking for.
Yep.
So I'm a little
It was a
confused why that
different
wouldn't be the case now.
Right, but this is the proposed budget, and that's what you'd go by.
Right.
This is
And
what
the
you go by.
vehicle payment that you have right now on the K-9, it doesn't come out of your operating part of your budget, it's a debt that's levied for.
Sure. Which
So they have
Which
this.
the city administrator did bring up, it was $17,000 in some, what he had a rounded number that he said was gonna have to come out,
This is what we have to go.
which we discussed.
This is what we approved on this. Angie said you have something different, Lori?
Remember, Chief Rehab brought up a paper that was on, it was portrait, and it had
Yep.
his actual budget, that's what Ash looked at and said, yes, this has been approved, which had the 80,000 for the vehicles, but we didn't each get a copy that night. Ash had it and said, it's in here, it's approved, this is what I approved.
Yeah, and that's what I would give, that's what I give him at the time where he's figuring it out, usually in January. That's what my proposal to him was, and that's what he came and said we were getting.
If nobody else got that, can you make a note, email that out to him tomorrow? If you could, please.
I guess my concern is if we do that, you're gonna lose 80,000 in your operations, okay? I mean, we could say, yeah, it's in there, and then it's gonna come out, cause this is what we approved. This is what we have to go by. We can't change it. So I think it is prudent that we do send it to Chip, so we don't tap into that. And, that's just to save your salary for your guys,
Didn't that number
But-
match that though? We didn't see the itemized, but when you added that up, wasn't that the same as what that? You didn't see the-
What I was shown when I came up was the same that I had asked for. And the statement that was made, I mean, I don't wanna quote them word for word, you guys can go back and replay the tape, was that I was receiving everything that I had asked for on that budget.
And so salaries and the vehicle were on there. Salaries weren't somewhere else. So I think
No.
it's accounted for.
And specifically even, so if you guys recall, the way that this whole issue came about was me and Chip discussing this. And Chip asked me specifically how much money I needed per year to get this equipment. And we had decided on $100,000 per year. That's what Chip had discussed with us. We knocked that down to 80. So me and Chip's conversations for months have been that we were going to have this money in our budget, at least the 80,000 per year. That's the whole reason that I've been working so hard to get this into that dollar amount. I wouldn't have chose 80,000 just to choose it. That's what I was told I had to spend within. So that's the number I picked. I would say, and again, I think Jacob would do a better job of explaining this, but the alternatives, and I totally understand what Mr. Calba is saying. I mean, if that truly is the budget that we have, I don't wanna see that disappear to other things either. But what we do also need to consider is the cost of these vehicles. If we were to purchase one, we're looking at, even just to stay within that $80,000, we're not gonna get a computer. We're not gonna get probably a camera system, because we're not gonna be able to keep it under that dollar amount. So if we wanted to include all of that stuff, and actually I think I have it in here if you guys wanna see it, but we would be closer to 100, it was like 98,000, just for one vehicle. Now, next year, when we go to get a second vehicle, you're talking 8 to 10% inflation costs on top of that. So now not 98,000, you're talking over 100,000. Year 3, you're talking 120,000. Year 4, you're talking 130, 140,000. over the 4-year process to get these 4 vehicles, we'd be spending close to $500,000. And I've found a way to get it done for $79 a year for 4 years. So I think that it would be the smartest way that we can get this done, and also start to purchase some of that equipment that we need to. But I think Jacob would be able to do a better job. He does this for a living, I don't, so I think he could explain the ins and outs of how that works and why we can keep it down to that $80,000 a year. But regardless, I think moving forward, we need to start looking at this. We have, 5 officers. We have, even with a 3-year vehicle fleet, or even if we stayed at 3 vehicles, if we wanted to replace those vehicles every 4 or 5 years, you're looking at purchasing a vehicle every couple of years. You have to. So right now, we're already 6 years in. If we wait another year for this, we're 7 years in, 8 years in, so on, and we get back down to that 10 or 12 year range where we're driving cars where the wheels are literally falling off of them. So I think we need to seriously consider this, because it's gonna be more cost efficient than going the other route.
And just because we referred to CHIP, I don't think we're saying we won't do the 3 vehicles on that. Just, we need to find a different way to finance it is all. So we don't take more away from your guys and stuff is all,
Do you have access to that sheet? Does anybody have access to the sheet that you've seen that night?
I do not. It's at home. But
I didn't know we were gonna be talking about that, so I didn't bring it.
Just to compare to what?
Yeah. I mean, I know specifically the line item that I requested was 80,000 exactly.
The line item for vehicles.
For vehicles.
That was not your budget, that was your line item for vehicles.
Nothing but vehicles.
Yes,
Yep.
okay, perfect.
Dustin, did you have something to?
I was just, is the confusion that the 80,000 would come out of the existing budget as opposed to July 1st, it's new money into the budget? So you're not taking away from anything by approving that?
Yeah, and maybe I didn't explain that well enough. So we're not looking to fund this with this year's budget. We're looking to fund this with next year's budget.
Yeah,
So Ruan will defer the payments until the next fiscal year. So we wouldn't be paying for this until that budget, which is the one that I was told had $80,000 for vehicles.
And Sarah, isn't that this one?
Correct.
The draft, that's what I'm looking at. That's what I'm talking about, is the 80,000 out of that 401.
We can gather more information.
Okay.
Get it out to the council.
Okay.
And
I just don't wanna see it where, it comes out and now you're like, how am I gonna do 80,000 in salaries, where'd that go? So that's the only thing I'm looking at, cause.
I guess I feel a little different. I feel like it's his budget and it was approved, and I feel like that if we wait another month, we're further out. So I feel like Ash said it 4 or 5 times, it's in there.
The question that I would have, you said 401, is that what you said is showing for us?
It's in the general on that, expenditure schedule page, is that right, Sarah?
It should have
It's
been
right.
659.
Yeah, it should be 600 something.
That's not even close to what we
it's,
were told.
you've got your operating budget plus your benefit budget
Yeah,
plus
so
your
this
debt
is
service
benefits.
budget equals the total amount that the city spends.
Which equals the higher amount.
So, I mean, I don't have it in front of me, but I mean, even if you looked at last year's expenses, I mean, we're well over that number. 401 is not enough for our budget. It just isn't. And that was addressed and brought up numerous times over the last couple months. So if that's the number that we somehow approved when literally in the middle of a meeting I was told different, and you guys were there to see it, then I think there's a bigger thing that needs to be looked at instead of vehicles.
No, Ash did say that all the department heads got what they asked for. So,
I'm not trying to pull any tricks. I literally provided the stuff to you guys that I gave to Ash. You guys all saw it. You were at that same meeting as me. I was told I was getting what I had requested. What I requested was $80,000 a year for vehicles. And we picked that number for a specific reason, because we knew that we could do this with that amount. That's why me and Chip had talked about that amount, because that's what we needed to make this happen. I would have asked for, well, I did ask for it, but I definitely would have asked for it again had I been told that that wasn't gonna be the case. And I think that's pretty obvious.
okay. All right, was you gonna say something, Sarah?
The total increase for the police was
think we'll go ahead and,
Yeah.
listen to your counterpart here, and,
Yep.
like Mr. Caldwell said, I just wanna, say that he's not saying that we're not in support of any of this, and we just need to figure out the money part of things, which Sarah can find
Trying to
out
save
tomorrow.
the finances
Yeah.
as much as we can, you know, I mean, we can always approve it, but
Jacob Batson, I'm with Carl Auto Group. I run their government and municipality sales. I do this across 31 states. Leasing's been a huge part of working with municipalities lately. 50% of my business was done through big companies like Enterprise, Ruan, Wheels, all across the United States, just due to the fact that budgets really aren't there like they used to be. Prices of vehicles are going up. In 5 years, I've had the Tahoe go from $39,000 to $53,000, just based off General Motors' increase in pricing. So the biggest benefit that you guys are gonna see out of the leasing is being able to expand your budget, maximize it, keep the vehicles on the road as long as you can at the same time. Your vehicle's got a 5-year, 100,000-mile warranty on it. You're gonna be able to stretch that out further. When you're running as shorter vehicles as you guys are now, not only are you guys racking up miles, but you guys are also racking up idle hours that you guys don't think of too. Each one of these trucks has 7 or 8,000 idle hours on it, which is an additional 100,000 miles. This is gonna help you guys keep that maintenance budget down. Sure, it's gonna cost you a little bit of money in interest, but you're gonna get that back with maintenance budget. You'll be able to expand it out. You have all new equipment consistently in the vehicles. Whatever we can transfer, we'll continuously transfer. But the biggest benefit is getting you guys the new equipment, which is what everybody needs. These new vehicles automatically record everything they're doing while they're driving, cameras, everything. It's all state of the art, everything you guys need to keep the community safe. The leasing's a huge benefit. I have a lot of towns that do this. They'll rotate 3 new vehicles every year through this leasing company and sell their current ones for more than what they paid them for, because these vehicles are hard to get. I have an average ask for about 2,500 customers want Tahoes every year, and I only get 400, which brings the equity value through the roof for the city at the same time. We just bought a Tahoe back from Ruan. It was 4 years old, had 45,000 miles, paid 65,000 fully upfitted, and I just sold it for 55,000 today because there's a shortage of vehicles too. So we were able to already secure the vehicles for the city. Ruan's able to already secure the financing. We already have the parts. It's a really simple process for you guys.
And they're willing to defer them payments until after the fiscal year.
Correct. You have options of annual payments or monthly payments. Ruan even put it in writing that you guys will have no down payments whatsoever with these vehicles. You won't have a payment until 12 months after the vehicle's done being built. So if you guys realistically were to give approval, I'd probably have 3 brand new cars on the road in 4 or 5 weeks for you guys.
How long would it take you, if the council decided against it, if they did, how long would it take you to acquire more vehicles? Is that?
I'd have to wait till 27 model year, probably 9 more months. And GM is currently doing a complete refresh of the vehicles, so you're looking at probably a 10% increase in pricing too.
Okay.
Just for the vehicle, not including the parts.
Interesting, okay. All right. Any discussion on that? Any more from the council? Any questions for Jacob or Chief Reno? If I could sneak in here again. It's totally up to you guys. As he said, if they defer the payments till after the fiscal year, and Carl Chevrolet does have them, it's gonna be totally up to you guys what you wanna do.
And if we all, I don't know if you guys, the sheet that, I'm sitting right next to you, so you have the sheet, but there was the vehicle line on there in his budget. So,
I'd be ready to make a motion. I make a motion that we approve the 3 leased Tahoes, that we allow Chief Reha to work with Sarah on the most favorable financing option, and that his expenditures don't exceed $80,000 per fiscal year.
Okay, motion by Caps,
I'm the second that.
second by Ingrid. How do you vote? Caldwell?
I'd just like to make a statement on why I'm gonna say no, is because I don't want to be the one to lose you 80,000 if that's the way it happens. That's the only reason. If we had time to do this, I'm sure Chip could get back to us pretty soon, maybe even by our special meeting, but I don't wanna see you lose 80,000, so I'm voting no.
Okay. Caps?
Yes.
Ingworth?
Yes.
Nelson?
I'm also gonna make a slight statement. I would prefer if we staggered purchasing instead of 3 vehicles at one time. So for that, I'm gonna say no.
Russell?
I'm gonna go with yes.
All right. Moving on. C. Police Department, Police Officer Recruitment Discussion. Turn it back over to you, Chief.
So I had also put some things in your packet for this. I didn't know if there was any questions, if you guys had a chance to review. Essentially, the short side of it is we had a candidate, we offered him a contingent offer, and he declined. So we're now back into the starting stages of this. I was going to rerun an ad actually Friday, but then I decided I'd wait until I had a chance to talk with you guys in case there was some sort of discussion that you all could help. Really, I'm just looking for direction on what to do. There's, obviously, there's a shortage of police officers right now. It's a very hard, very competitive process. I was just told tonight, I don't know this officially, so, but there's a council meeting tomorrow in Greenfield, where they're hiring a new police chief. He's got less than 5 years' experience. He's gonna be making considerably more than I am. So it's very hard for me to recruit people when, we're just not, we're not competitive.
How many officers does Greenfield have?
3.
What's your criteria when you're looking for somebody? Did you have 3, like this last go around, you
So
said
there's-
one,
Yep. So we had 2 that made it through the initial testing. So the state requires us to do certain things. There's physical agility testing, there's an MMPI that there's all sorts of steps that have to go through. And we had technically 1 pass the physical agility. So there's been years where we've had 20 applicants, there's been years where we've had 0. I would say here recently, it seems like we've been on the smaller end, 2 to 3. In our last hiring process, I believe we were down to the last candidate that we hired last time.
Was that least that?
This applicant that just declined the offer, he knew the wage coming in, right?
When we discussed it during our interview with him, it's not, we don't publicize it on the application.
Sure,
or on the,
he knew what was gonna be offered to him,
Yep.
if it was offered to him, so.
Before he went through all the.
So he was just a time
Testing.
waster.
Yeah, I don't wanna speak for him. He did have a conversation with me and brought up, some points, but I don't think it'd be appropriate for me to talk about it. But his current salary is considerably higher than what we would be offering him. So, as any family man with kids and whatnot, I mean, I get it. But the main thing that I think we all, I brought it up in the stuff I put in the packet, but I mean, even our last officer that left to go work for the county, I mean, it's a considerable jump to go to even our next door neighbors. He was making shy of 60,000 here, he's making plus 80 there. To do the exact same job, to live in the exact same house. The only difference is he gets some different equipment and wears a different color uniform. So I understand, by no means I don't want you all to think I'm upset with you guys. I mean, it's a hard job to be in your positions trying to figure out how we're gonna fund this stuff because the cost of this stuff keeps going up. But when we have competition, when I first started, we couldn't compete with Des Moines. That was a no-brainer. We were never gonna pay what Johnston or Urbandale or, those guys paid. Now we're competing with Greenfield, and they're paying significantly more than we are. Panora is very similar. The counties are paying significantly more. I don't know how I can keep people working here if that continues to be that big of a jump. And so, it's all of our jobs to try to figure out how we're gonna fix this. And to be honest, good equipment, good vehicles, that's one of those steps. That boosts morale. Officers, that's their office. Being able to drive a nice vehicle with nice equipment, that's part of the process. Right now, we don't have that stuff. So maybe that was part of it. Maybe when he was doing ride-alongs with us, he's in 6-year-old cars and he's looking at these other departments who are driving around brand new cars. I don't know.
So let me ask you something, Chief. Obviously, it's driven by money, a lot of it.
Yeah.
Where would that number need to be to start luring them people in? Because I'm sitting here looking at the overtime expenses through the police department, and if we could take that dollar amount and add it towards recruitment or whatever, so what's that number look like to you?
I wish I had a good answer for you. In my opinion, it's got to be competitive with our neighboring agencies. Are we ever going to be able to beat Adair County's starting salary? No, it's never going to happen. But you and me have had conversations, Mayor, about there are some differences too. And so for those of you that haven't had those conversations, our benefit package is pretty good. So, that has a cost to it. And when we try to hire people, we explain those things to them that, I might not be able to pay you what this department can pay you, but our benefits are better than that department and some of that outweighs itself. As a package, equipment, benefits, salary, those three things have to be comparable to our surrounding departments. I'm not asking us to compete with Urbandale, but if we can't compete with Greenfield, if we can't compete with Panora or Guthrie Center or, Madison County, Dallas County, we're always gonna be in this predicament. Dallas County, I think they're bringing on, I think their plan was 2 deputies a year. They're growing like crazy. They're 5 miles from us. So my guys every night are working with those deputies. They're building relationships. Those guys are recruiting from here hard because they know that the officers here are good officers. Greenfield tried to recruit from us. So there are surrounding departments that are trying to pull us in that direction, and I'm doing everything I can as a chief to try to keep the people I have. But we gotta get those 3 things somewhat competitive.
How would we compete with a county of 10,000 versus 1,800? How do we compete with that, where they have such a large tax base and we have 1,800 people?
So when I look at it, I try to look at it in a per capita basis. Obviously, yes, they do have like Des Moines, for instance, has a much larger budget than Stuart PD, right? But they also have 300 and some officers. So, they are, if you look at it per capita, per population, they're spending a dollar amount per citizen. We're spending a dollar amount per citizen. Our dollar amount per citizen, when we do comparisons around us, is much lower than the surrounding cities around us. And I've presented that to the council multiple times where I've shown that breakdown. But, I agree with you. It's hard to see it. But when you look at it when you start to break things down into just numbers, it's not really that complicated because you can start to see, okay, yes, they have a bigger budget, but they also have a larger department, they have more equipment, they have more facilities, they also have more population they serve. But if you took 2,000 people out of Dallas County and you took the money that they're spending on that 2,000 people, it would be more than us. And that's where the difference needs to be made up. And so I guess, just again, comparisons, and I don't wanna point fingers at other departments, but like Panora, they're a 3-officer department. They have 3 take-home cars. Their salaries are competitive and honestly, I think they're working on getting them raised, but they're a town that's half our size in population. So if you looked at how much they're spending per citizen, they're spending, what it would cost us to operate our department, but they're doing, 3 take-home cars, 3 officers, things like that. Greenfield, same thing. They've got 3 cars, 3 officers, so there's a lot of ways to look at it. But that's why I wanted to come to you guys and just get some direction, because I'm willing to do whatever. We've tried to make Stuart a great place to work. We have all sorts of reasons to work here. I think that the 2 officers that, well, I'm not including Luis in this just because he's in the academy, but I think the other 2 officers that we have working here are happy here. They enjoy what they do. You know, and that's part of what keeps them around, is that we've given them opportunities to stay here. But am I gonna be able to compete with a new guy coming in and he's competing with all these other cities that are gonna pay him $20,000 more? No, it just isn't gonna happen. And unfortunately, right now, if you were to look at it statewide, even nationwide, you know, police officers are extremely in demand. I mean, I see it every day. There's ads almost constantly. You know, $10,000 sign-on bonus, $15,000 sign-on bonus, and that's small towns in Iowa are doing this just to try to stay competitive. So, and I'm not suggesting we do that. I'm just bringing that up as a point that, you know, cities are doing whatever they can to try to compete. I think when you guys see the number, if what I was told was true, when you guys see the number of what the police chief in Greenfield's gonna be making, you're gonna see that city obviously took, they definitely incentivized that job to find someone.
What's the starting salary for here?
For after academy, the way we have it set up right now, it's 55.
After?
After graduating academy.
So we're currently on track that in 5 months, we're gonna pay a full-time salary in overtime.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Pretty close.
yeah. And those are hours that have to be covered. We're not,
Yeah.
there's nothing we can do.
You will start to see a reduction in that because the numbers you guys are seeing are from previous, and we have 2 part-time officers and 2 reserves that are starting as we speak, within the last couple weeks. One of them is even donating his time. So you're gonna start to see some of that go down. But it's definitely gonna continue to be an issue.
Where's the department in Greenfield located? Where's their department located?
It's on the sheriff's office.
It's in the sheriff's
It's in,
office.
okay,
Yep.
so they don't have a expense for a building, so we do. So if we look at expenses too,
Don't they pay though?
I
I
don't
think they
know.
said online that they pay,
I'm not sure.
I think I don't think it's rent, but they pay for
Do they-
space.
do they lease it? I don't know. I
That's
don't know
what
what that
it-
expense is,
I
you know?
don't.
So we gotta look at all of our expenses for our police, you know, that's part of it too. And then, is it just a matter of just taxing the citizens more?
I mean, that's not my suggestion. I mean,
Well,
that's.
but I'm just
Sure.
asking, you know, we're trying to work, I don't know either. I mean, just to kind of go back, I think when we hired the 4th officer, the council was told the expectation was about 30 to 40,000 in revenue from fines. And I don't think we've got close to that in any year.
I haven't gotten close to having 4 officers since then. I mean, that's the problem. Is I mean, right now, we hired Luis, how many months ago? He's in the academy, you know,
But
so.
that's been a while ago, right? When we hired that 4th one, that was the expectation, kind of. We weren't saying you had to do it. I mean, we can't do that, right? We can't say got a quota, but I don't.
What I could tell you is, and I could find the numbers and go back and get them to you, but the last time that we were fully staffed steadily at 4 officers, we were averaging that. But that was, you know, that was before turnover. So if we hire a guy and lose a guy,
Sure, I get it.
we're
I
you
get-
know.
yeah, I understand.
The other thing is, I think statistically, and you could see this in all sorts of departments, but, and it's just common sense, but statistically speaking, if you are short-staffed, working extra time, working overtime, your proactive police things are not gonna be happening nearly as often. If I've got officers who are just trying to stay afloat, and they're trying to keep up with their investigations and all that, the last thing they're gonna have time to do is go out and do radar on the side of the road and pull cars over.
Okay, and I'm just trying to figure out, you know, I
Sure.
mean, I don't do your job, so
Yep.
I'm just throwing out ideas. How about the traffic lights that we talked about? Is that something, if we can get that up and going?
I mean, I explained even back when we were, I think, talking to Sensi Gatsko, is that the right name? I was both ways on that issue. I was waiting for your guys' or the council's direction. I see benefits to it. I see, you know, some negatives to it. What I do wholeheartedly agree with is that the enforcer themselves should not be a part of that decision. If you all tell us that that's what you want to do, we will enforce those laws. Just like when you guys create a new ordinance, we'll enforce it, but it should not be my role to give the city direction on what those roles should be, or what those rules should be. because then I think there's a conflict. If I'm creating the laws and also enforcing the laws, it's not really as fair, or at least just doesn't seem fair. So if the city were to come to us and say, hey, you know, you guys are now required to sign electronic citations from a camera system, I'm not gonna tell you no, it's my job. But I don't wanna be the one that also goes out and brings that program in either, cause that.
Right, yeah, I think we're in the midst of kind of doing something like that, you know, getting it going, just kind of looking, you know, is that something supported? Of course it would be then, so.
And there's data on surrounding communities where that's definitely helped in ways.
Right.
I'm not gonna say it hasn't, so.
Because I think short of just taxing our citizens, you know, I don't know what else to do, you know? I mean, because sign-on bonus, you're gonna have to, where's the money gonna come from? Either that or you gotta shut down some programs, you know? It's gonna happen. I've heard lots of people talk, you know, we spend, and we don't cut anything. Well, if we're gonna support them, we're gonna have to cut something. It's gonna happen. There's no two ways about it. Or we're just gonna have to tax people back up to $20 per thousand or whatever, the way it used to be. I've heard it said before that people, oh, it used to be up that high. That makes it easy to go back up there again, right? Then you're gonna start losing businesses. Then you're gonna start maybe losing a few people, that tax base that you're trying to get there to help support them. So what do? We gotta, you know, it can't just be also all on the council to try to make that decision on what we gotta do, so. I don't know.
And we also gotta look at the big picture too, you know, we just had, some gentlemen in here think about putting in a truck stop too, and we gotta think about expanding our, the departments, and not just the police department, rescue and fire as well, and what are we gonna do there? Cause it sounds like they're coming, and so, yeah, this is something that we really need to dive into and figure out how the chief is gonna get employees in here and keep them.
Without taking more time, because I know that you guys still have a lot more left on this list. What I would suggest is we, as a city, we don't try to reinvent the wheel. And it seems like we always try to do things differently. I'm a big fan on looking at what other agencies are doing that are working. If a city the size of us can afford to have 5 officers, let's go look how they do that. Maybe it's taxes, maybe it isn't. Maybe there's other programs that they're doing, but we need to start looking outside of our house and see how other towns are running things. Because when we do our comparisons, and again, I've presented this to the council multiple times, when we do our comparisons, those other cities are spending more per person on their police department than Stuart is. That's just the fact. How they do that, I don't know. Is it taxes? Is it something else? I'm not sure. What I do know is that their departments get a bigger budget comparably to us with the same amount of people. And if we had that similar budget, if we had the budget that we needed, we would be in that same position. And I wouldn't be up here talking to you guys, because I would be able to pay. You know, you mentioned the county, it's hard to compete, but look at Guthrie County. They just hired their 11th deputy. Their population hasn't really grown in the last 15 years since I've been here. Our population in Stuart has, but if you look at the entire population of Guthrie County, some would argue it's actually gone down some because of certain towns losing people. They were able, when I first came here, they had 5 deputies. So they've increased their deputies by, you know, twice. In that same amount of time, we haven't really increased ours at all. So how did they afford to do that? I don't know, maybe their budgets are bigger and what you're saying is true. Those are things we need to look into. But when I've looked into them and presented them to you guys, I've done what I can. But I always come up with the same findings. It's just we're not spending as much. And it's not just with the police department. It's with other departments as well. Historically, we're just not spending as much as other towns are on certain departments.
And I think a lot of it too is, like I said, you have to look at, try not to look just at their budget or their amount, but what does the town have to offer? Do they have a pool? Do they have a sports complex that they have to maintain? Do they fund a depot? Everything that we fund, are they funding the same or comparable type things? lot of stuff that we do, and we like to keep those surfaces, nobody wants to see them go away, so that has to be taken into consideration. And I think even this year, you could consider that we did actually raise taxes, even though we didn't change the levy, because our property values went up, and we left the levy the same, we didn't lower it to compensate for that thing. So we actually did raise taxes on people in a roundabout way. Okay, so I don't know what the answer is, you know, but I think it's more than just saying, well, they pay more, but what does that town offer?
Sure.
You know, we gotta look at that too, but I'm
I
willing to do
totally
it.
agree.
Willing to do it, you know?
I totally agree. And equally, I think it's important to also look at geographic locations, you know, how close are they to a metro? Do they have an interstate? What's their call volume? Because some of those cities that I brought up, their call volume is probably half of what ours is.
Yeah, no, I agree.
So,
I agree.
I agree, we need to look at it honestly from all angles, but outside of that, I don't know what other choice we have.
So, and just, let's go through this. So, here a few years ago, we did a STEP program, because you came to us and that's the first STEP program. They started, I can't remember, what was it, 45 or 45?
I think it was 45.
And
That
then
was
they stepped
2018.
Yeah, and then they stepped up, and then the final step was 55. And then here recently, we just started at 55. So we've given you what you wanted on that. I know it's not, I'm not saying it's enough, don't take me. So we have done that, but I agree we have to look at something real big picture, just, you know.
Where do you post your job postings?
I think this one we did Indeed. We have obviously our Facebook page, that reach. There's a law enforcement only page on Facebook that's just Iowa law enforcement. I posted a couple comments or a couple posts on there. Even some where I just was candid and said, hey, this is what we're looking for. And I mean, the feedback was incredible. I had chiefs reaching out to me and officers reaching out to me from all over the state saying, I would come work for you if I was 20 again, just from that post alone.
Right. Do you have any youth or young
Or talk to the high school kids at all? I know they're obviously not gonna be through academy, but
Well, that's what I'm-
maybe we could get a hometown kid that would wanna stick around.
There may be. I mean, this next go around, there were a couple applicants on this last process that didn't have everything in on time, and I'm assuming they would apply again if we reopen. So we might get some local feedback. With that said, though, I don't know that they knew what the salary was.
Sure.
So is that going to be enough to keep them? Maybe. I don't know.
If they're uncertified, you gotta put them through the academy. Isn't there some sort of contract with that?
Yeah.
So what's that?
So we have a 4-year contract
4-year
where, yeah, it's prorated, and depending on how early they leave, they would have to pay us back a percentage.
So like in the need, could you push for, not that you'd want to, but the youth, and then if you keep them for ideally keep them for 4 years, and then maybe move them on and then start that process. I know that's.
Yeah, that's what you don't want to happen.
Well, unless you
and-
set your structure up like that.
And
Like,
to be
I'm
honest, sorry, I didn't.
Then you have a person, but.
So I think I might have shared this with some of you in the past. I mean, I've talked about it before. Where I come from in Colorado, there was a town in southern Colorado that had a hard time hiring people because no one wanted to live down there. It was too far away from everybody. So they would go out. In Colorado, it's a little different. You have to put yourself through the academy, then you have to go try to get hired on somewhere. So it's competitive. There's a bunch of guys that are certified but don't have anywhere to work, and so the cities compete with each other. Well, this town realized real quick we're not going to be able to get people. So what they did is they said, if you come down and work for us for X amount of years, we'll train you in all these different things, so that when you leave here in that 5-year term, you're going to leave here highly certified in all these different areas. Then you can go back up to Denver, and everybody's going to want to hire you because you're trained and you're certified in all these different areas. It worked for them, and what they ended up seeing is a lot of officers went there for 5 years, realized, you know what, I like this community, and they put roots down and they stayed. Not everybody, I'm sure they lost probably more than they kept. So there's all sorts of ways of looking at it, but even that requires money, because you've got to have the budget to fund the training, to fund all the classes, pay for the transportation, pay for the overtime while that officer's off at a training class. Someone's got to work for his open shift. So there's always a cost to all of this. And that's the unfortunate part of it. So, and I'm willing to try whatever option we have. I mean, I think we've done a good job of doing that so far. I mean, if you look at I mean, we have a canine program, we have an SRO program, we have a drone program in this tiny little town. The counties next to us can't even say all those things. So we're doing what we can to try to give officers a reason to work here, and to find some passion. But that only goes so far too. So, and by no means, please don't think I'm up here saying, you know, we're gonna lose the officers we have. I'm not trying to say that. It's hard to find new ones. So. Any other questions, or I'll let you guys get on with your meeting.
Anything else for you? Thank you. All right, moving on. D, Stuart Aquatic Center 2026 season pool manager. I'll turn it over to Mrs. Young. Good evening.
Just a quick update on preparations as we head into the 2026 pool season. Right now, everything is moving along as scheduled. I'm putting out staff applications after spring break, which happens next week. They'll be available through April 15th, so we have time for interviews if needed. Last year, we did have to conduct some for our pool house staff. Our swim lesson sign up and membership drive is scheduled for May 9th, utilizing the city library again. Lifeguard training is set for Memorial Weekend. We do it the same weekend every year. The guy that we have do it, he was originally from Jefferson, now he comes up from Kansas and is still willing to do it for us. I reached out to him several weeks ago and he said, yes, let's pencil it in. So we have that set up. The pool itself is expected the first week of May to get it up and running. Hopefully we don't run into any issues when we get that up and going. So we have time to get it ready and all that for staff training before we open. One thing that I just wanted to come and speak with you guys about is as we finalize the planning, as we're in a trend here with the agenda tonight, wanted to review like operational costs and the fact that, you know, everything's increasing. With those costs increasing, I wanted to ask for your guidance on whether we should look at possible adjustments to like our daily admission or our membership pricing for the upcoming season. I provided you guys with handouts with what our current rates are for you to review. I just did some quick analysis. Winterset already has their 2026 fees set and posted. They're kind of a unique situation. Their cost is really low for the size of pool that they have, and they also do a base price plus $10 per person. So their base price is $130 for their membership plus $10 each addition or per person in their family that they sign up. Their senior cost is $35. They also offer a military membership for $35. Their daily rate is $6. Adele, going off of, they haven't updated anything yet, going off of 2025. Their daily rate is $7. Senior citizens are $6. They offer a family day pass though, which is $25 per family. I didn't see like how many that encompasses. I mean, just like, yeah, I couldn't tell you how many people that gets in or per family, if there really is a cap or not. And they also go by the school district, whereas we are City of Stuart gets a discounted rate versus, so they are a ADM school district. Their membership is $90 for a single. Family up to 6 is $200. Non-resident single, so outside of the ADM school district is $110, and outside resident for family is $240. So I'm just looking for some guidance, do we wanna keep it the same? We did increase it 3 years ago, I believe. So,
What's the daily?
oh, sorry, 5.
$5.
We went from 4 to 5, just to make it an even number, that 3 and under is free, so.
And if you were to increase it $1 for the daily rate, what is that revenue per day?
I don't have those figures like right now. I just did, sitting here, I did the analysis of like the surrounding towns. We do, our max capacity is 183. We do hit that. So if, I mean, and you can't compare, or I mean, yes, I could do analysis there, but as far as, breaking down, like putting into passes that are coming in versus.
Do you know the percentage of passes versus daily?
I don't.
Okay.
So going on kind of something, in-town versus out-of-town stuff, do you know where that's at? Obviously we have, is it mostly in-town people utilizing the pool?
Yes, we do get, outside, but it's not a whole lot
So
of outside members.
Kinda
We
looking
went
at,
to, so this is, I just ran it to the pool real quick. Last year, we sold 143 memberships.
okay,
Cause this was the next one in my,
okay.
my list as I just came into town and went by and grabbed this, so.
I was just kind of throwing this out there, with doing something like ADM, opening it up to the school district.
I think you would see quite a bit more being sold. I honestly do. Opening it up to a school district wide, but I see both sides of it where we are a city, you know, providing a city service, so.
I'd be willing to try that for a year though.
You know, I mean, Adele's a city, providing a city service, right? Is that
Right,
their pool?
no,
So,
I've always, personally, I have always wondered why we didn't do it, cause we do more West Central Valley School, you know, we do a lot of stuff
You'd want them to.
centrally
you wanna bring it
located
together,
here in
yeah.
Stuart, so.
I mean, like I said, for a year, see how it goes, you know. Sarah, was that something, is that something that needs to have council approval? Is it council approval that we just do this, or is that up to the pool administrator?
I'm asking for your guidance. I would rather you guys put back on me what I am going to charge the patrons. So.
Typically, she would make the recommendation and then you would approve it or not.
Okay.
I mean, I know, speaking, I can say I know plenty of families that don't live inside of Stuart have complained why we don't offer a West Central Valley
I
discount, and I think we would potentially see some gains out of that. So I can see
Another
that being
thing, I've spoke with Mr. Russell, how we are not automated on a few things, how we don't we only take cash. We take no source of other payment. That is something that I would like to see changed, but I don't know how to
Can
go.
you buy pool passes online at
Go
all?
about, we do
Can
not,
they buy them with a card?
we do not.
I bet that's a deterrent.
That's, again, that's something
Getting-
I've been.
So when we do, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. When we do have out of town people come to our facility and they walk up and, you know, I have a sign on the window that says cash only, no, you know, cash or check only. And they don't have any cash and they're like, oh, you know, and well, there's a bank uptown, there's, you know,
Yeah.
ATMs that you can go and, so it's kind of a
They'd just
deterrent.
rather leave at that point.
Yes.
So,
What I've noticed at the school, some of the clubs that use the high school, they've got their own Venmo accounts.
Correct.
Is that something you would be?
I
You cannot
don't,
use Venmo with city funds like that. That is, I've been talking a lot with the Iowa League of Cities on this. Their guidance is definitely that's a hard no on any sort of Venmo, PayPal, stuff like that. Now, in talking with Sarah, I did find out that we're going to be upgrading our software at the end of the actual year, not fiscal year. And that's gonna take it to a cloud-based SaaS service, which is gonna open up opportunities for us, which is one way that the Iowa League of Cities said would be acceptable for us to then take online payments and do that with. Obviously, there's a lot more work that has to be done. Recently, I was actually just down in Clarinda, Iowa at their lead center for a scout lock-in and talking with the facilities manager there. And they take online payments basically through a system like that. And they use the Squarespace, the Square Up type thing. And that potentially could also offer up an opportunity for us. But I think the best way would be through, forgive me, what's the software package we use? G-Works. Would be the ideal way to do that instead of having a third-party provider doing it. It's all keeping it in-house, so to speak, with the software we're used to using and stuff like that. And I think next actual year coming into the next year's signups, we should hopefully be able to provide at least the opportunity to buy the memberships online. We may or may not have things figured out to bring the pool house and concessions to any sort of online payment system, but at least if we can do the online signups and potentially even swim lesson signups that way could provide us with that. But again, not until we figure out how that's going to work with the new software package and we do a little bit more digging into that, can that be possible?
So
He was the first one that I reached out to like several weeks ago, because we had discussed this last year, trying to get automated with this sort of thing, and
So that would be good for pool passes. You mentioned Square, and that was one thing I was gonna kind of bring up. Is there any feasibility to get them that so they can sell stuff at the actual pool?
Well, that's what
at
we
this
said
time?
with
I
the
mean,
pool
like-
house.
Like,
this year. I know,
I'm just
I
trying,
mean,
you know, you
I've-
gotta think about it.
I've conceded and said, like, let's get through this season and we'll figure out
Okay.
this G-Works
Okay,
thing.
if you're willing
Yeah,
to wait.
so
then-
like I said, I reached out to him first, and then I started setting up with, Miss Lisa and stuff. So we're in place to continue business as usual this year, and we will look into hopefully gaining some ground for next year.
All right, to keep things moving, how do you guys want to proceed with?
Oh, you're all right with doing a school district? Are you okay with that?
Yes, I am
Okay,
perfectly
so then
okay
I
with
would
that.
make a motion that, for this pool season, we would open up the Stuart pricing, to a, school district-wide, make that the school district-wide pricing, then anything out of the school district will be the out-of-town pricing as it is now, so we just switch that.
And to
You wanna keep
keep the rates the same?
Or do we wanna increase?
Why don't we keep the rates the same for this year and see? We don't have a second on this
If
motion,
it's been
but,
3 years since we've raised rates, do we wanna raise them?
I don't know. We do a early bird special, like during the month of May, they can come into City Hall and purchase them, so this would be,
so if we don't raise them and we see how this goes, and maybe we get more at the lower amount.
Or since we're opening it to the school district,
Yeah.
maybe we raise the West Central Valley up $10 for the year to recoup a little bit of what we're potentially gonna lose from the out-of-town purchases.
I would do a family 180 with, the early bird being 160, 165.
So it's $20 less right now. I like 155 on the early bird for the family. That's $25 off.
155 and 180.
Yeah.
I would second that motion.
Is that the only one we're gonna, okay, yeah, never mind.
We can.
Okay, we're good. We're good.
180 and 155. I'm just making notes. If we approve this, are we raising outside? Do you want to go 200?
How many of those do you see? Like, what's the?
I probably a 75-25. Like, we do see a lot more in sewer passes being sold than,
Yeah,
but then you're going to gain.
Yeah, so,
you're
yeah, that's, see,
likely
that's what I'm
going to
saying.
gain-
If you're hopefully getting more from the school district, then that would hopefully offset, you know, you not raising it and still bringing more revenue. So I just raised the one to 180, 155.
180 in the district, 155 early bird, and 190 out of the district.
Right.
Do you have an early bird price for, is that still?
They have the
Early bird price,
170.
it's, okay, so outside city limits or outside the school district would be 190 and an early bird of 170.
All right. Would you go ahead and read that motion back so we're clear on that, please?
Moved by Kava, seconded by Nelson, to set the 2026 pool season pass prices for families inside the school district at $180 with an early bird price of $155, and setting the prices for family passes outside of the school district for $190 with an early bird price of $170.
When we say, are we saying Redfield, Dexter, Stuart, Menlo addresses? So when people come in and,
I think so.
okay,
Okay. How do you vote? Cobble?
Yes.
Caps?
Yes.
Ingers? Yes. Nelson?
Yes.
Russell?
Yes.
Okay. Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sean. All right, E, West Central Valley High School Building Addition Site Plan Approval. This went through P and Z just the other night. They did approve this, so just looking for your guys' approval on this. Have any questions? Mr. Shockley is here and Forrest is here to talk on that as well. Go ahead, Forrest. Do you have any additional comments or?
We reviewed the site plan and found no issues. Planning and zoning did unanimously approve it. This would be a building addition within the high school campus on the CTE.
Career Tech Education.
There we go. It's on a building on the north side. We did look at stormwater drainage. Stormwater drainage would all go to stay on the high school site. It would not go north. We also look at the lighting to make sure there is some security lighting on the north side of the building, but it's all downward facing, so it will not be shining into the homes to the north.
So based on the recommendations we've received, I would make a motion to approve.
I second.
Rock, paper, scissors.
Doesn't matter.
Motion by Nelson, second by Cobble. How do you vote? Cobble?
Yes.
Caps?
Yes.
Ingers?
Yes.
Nelson?
Yes.
Russell?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, not so fast this time. And I have 2 minutes.
Yes.
I'm with you.
Take a 2-minute recess.
Thank you. I think that's the longest I've gone.
Mr. Mayor?
Their mics forward.
Just crack it. One of them are, see, that's the black.
Right?
And then there's another one that forms the north, because there's no shifting, I think they just need to route.
Pretty recent.
So I talked to guys.
It's better than the old ones, they were like wool.
They route it.
Want cookie, Mr. Mayor?
Marcus.
Yes.
Oh, Marcus.
Oh, really?
How are you allowing this to happen?
I'm not in charge, I just go with it.
Marcus is like, we're 2 hours deep, right? That's how.
I hear you.
You,
Bring milk.
I did look at that, so, we had good bids.
Sorry.
Still underneath.
Yeah.
Because we thought we were too quick.
So that'll be next time.
I don't drink any of my drinks, usually I bring two drinks. Just swig it, buddy's toe. Usually I have more than water in my cup.
Spicy.
Strip out.
But I think.
Why didn't you bring it? You didn't know we'd be here this long.
Like Dexter, if someone had a pass Dexter last year.
Like 3D print something.
Maybe we could get that for next year.
Where? I don't care.
No.
Yeah, switching on. So it's got a clear thing. Probably got a flat side to it. I can press this out and see run out your test. Print it out, so they're cheap as anything in front. Oh yeah, I'll print one out. If it works, I'll print you out like 5, 10 or something. As spares.
We'll bring this meeting back to order. All right, moving on, F, 2026 Street Improvement Project Change Order Number 1. Forrest, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Mayor. So we received bids back in, I think it was November, and we received really good bids from Grimes Asphalt, and so there's still some money in the budget. Josh Renslow took a look at the streets around town and is recommending that we add another block to the program, which would be North Fifth Street, just east of Division for that one block. And we'd still be within the budget that we had because of those good bids, and recommend we add that to the project. I'll make that motion.
Motion by Nelson,
Second.
second by Cobble. How do you vote? Cobble?
Yes.
Caps?
Yes.
Ingers?
Yes.
Nelson?
Yes.
Russell?
Yes.
Okay, and before I move on, if you council members couldn't move your mics closer to you, the public is having a hard time hearing online, and please use your outside voice. Speak up, if you could, please. Hopefully that'll help. All right, G, Public Works Department, proposal for additional mower and trailer. I will turn that over to Mr. Renslow.
Alright, so, I'm not sure quite what Sarah gave you guys. I did a little pros and cons, adding another mower. Gave this to Ash. Ash told us to go ahead and do it. After the fact, I was kinda thinking it probably something, after we picked up the mower, something that should've went through you guys. So the trailer has not been purchased yet, but, with John Welker, myself, Sarah, Ash, Ash said that this could come out of the sewer reserve since part of that's mowed down there. Currently, we mow right around that 21 acres, and, adding 2 mowers puts 2 guys on it for a day and a half versus 3.5 for one day, and we're a little more productive the rest of the time, so, just kinda, the one that I found was a used mower, 2 years old, 500 hours on it. I think, some sort of a warranty maybe even on it. Completely gone through, we went up, looked at it, drove excellent, new blades, the whole 9 yards, so that used mower at $79.99, plus a trailer was about $2,000 less than just a brand new mower, so I guess, kinda make it formal tonight and then also approve the trailer. We do currently borrow trailers from John Schwinger when we have to go to Adair and get pipes, so that would eliminate that as well.
So, the,
Question.
it's this trailer?
So that would be the trailer that we'd go and look,
And then the mower, I'm trying to get myself oriented in this. There's the trailer.
the mower that was purchased was a 2023 year model from Panora Napa. As Dave said, most cities are on rotation base with equipment, and this was a Guthrie Center mower that they are on rotation with them. The one we purchased, there was two of them, one was 600 hours, one was 550. We purchased the one with 550. Warranty lasts until March 28, or 1,200 hours, whichever one is first. So it's a 6,000 Series X mark. Pretty well the same thing as what we have now, just with the suspension seat, so Steven doesn't hurt his back. So, any other questions on that?
So you're just requesting the purchase of the trailer, you already have the mower?
Yes, the mower is sitting in the shop because I was under the impression Ash gave me permission to go purchase the stuff. Well, after sitting back thinking on the mower side of things, I was like, let's just wait on the trailer, get council approval and everything.
Okay. So this is this gonna save part of that annual cost, or is it more just saving time and allows you guys to be more productive?
So being more productive is a big
Okay.
part. A lot of our jobs, we have to have two guys on there and, ripping out concrete, stuff like that. This way, one guy's not ripping out concrete, the other one's mowing for 4 days or whatever it may be, so.
Okay.
Just productivity.
You're looking for both of them, just to kind of, okay, so I make that motion for the mower at 79. 99, and then the trailer was 41.
95.
41.95.
Okay.
To approve that.
Need a second?
I'll second.
Second by Caps. How do you vote? Cobble?
Yes.
Caps?
Yes.
Ingers?
Yes.
Nelson?
Yes.
Russell?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Josh.
Thanks, Josh.
All right, H, Public Works Employee Grade 1 Wastewater Certification.
Okay, so Josh has attained his grade 1 wastewater certification. In the past, the council has approved for this position and getting that certification a $2 an hour raise. And so we just want to make sure that that's still okay with you, and possibly make it retroactive to be effective on the date that the certification was obtained, which would have been February 4th.
And have we already passed that before?
You had approved it for this position, the street laborer position. You had hired with the approval already of a $2 an hour raise once that certification was obtained.
Okay, so this is just informational, pretty much, or you?
Yeah, just letting you know we're
Okay.
proud of Josh.
Yep, right, good work.
I do have a question if I could.
Sure, go ahead.
Moving forward, I look forward to continuing and getting my grade 3. Currently, there's nothing really in the handbook or anything that tells us what we get per certification. I have done a piece of paper up if you guys want to look at it sometime, but moving forward, I don't know what that looks like either. So.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Josh.
All right, 101, oh, sorry.
Because
Sorry,
it has to
you
do
do-
with wages.
Oh, gotcha, okay.
Oh,
We'll need a motion on that. Cobble, motion by Cobble, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Russell, how do you vote, Cobble?
Yes.
Caps?
Yes.
Ingers?
Yes.
Nelson?
Yes.
Russell?
Yes.
Okay, sorry, Sarah. All right, moving on. All right, 101 Northwest Second Street, request to place ADA ramp right away. Mr. Stone, I'll turn it over to you.
We are opening up a coffee shop at the old Maiden Blush Building, 101 Northwest Second Street. Due to the change of occupancy, we need a ADA ramp. We are proposing a ramp on the east side of the building. The entrance there, it's gonna really do the best staying out of the way of the main traffic on Second, and also keeping the historical integrity of the building in the front, and have architectural drawings think everybody has a copy of that. I also have a bid, it's the contractor that just did the ramp at the Bonnie and Clyde Bank across the street. He is licensed and insured, so Richard Construction Landscaping, so I have a bid, and then I have from the Department of Licensing Appeals, a copy of his registration there. So we're just looking for city approval so we can get started.
Forrest, have you taken a look at this? Do you know what he's
I
looking at?
have not, I don't, maybe Jason has. Jason looked at the one.
Jason's been my contact with
Jason
it,
has,
yeah, and
okay.
he said to send it to the city and.
So, a question on that ramp. So, I drove by the other day and kind of looked at that. I'm concerned, and obviously, looking at the plans here, it looks like the slope and everything is going to kind of, where it's not a tripping hazard per se. So that would be a concern of mine, I guess, to make sure that, you know, if somebody's walking flat, how that's gonna look out, cause it's gonna be ramp, you know, flat and a ramp, how that's gonna look, for the public as well, so.
Yeah, it's we have about 1.5 inch rise there. So it'll be, yeah, flat ramp going out from the door to the curb. The sides will also go out. They have it for the proper angle there to maintain within ADA. They have it at 2 feet, 8.5 inches on either side.
I would just hate to see that be a hurdle or a block, you know, for other handicapped people following that sidewalk, you know, in a wheelchair or whatever, if they have to climb over. You see what I'm saying? So I just wanna make sure that it's all gonna be blended, sloped really well, and
Yes.
For your guys' sake as well as,
Right.
as for disabled people in the community as well. Okay. That's all the questions I had.
Did Jason say anything about it? Did he have any concerns?
We submitted the plans and he said send it to the city for council approval.
He was okay with it.
Yeah,
I think if he wasn't okay with it, he would have said something.
Yeah, he would have said something, I would think.
He's pretty good at that,
So
yeah.
I'll make the motion that we, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna make the motion that we accept the design here is laid out there.
Motion by Cobble, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Caps, how do you vote? Cobble?
Yes.
Caps?
Yes.
Ingworth?
Yes.
Nelson?
Yes.
Russell?
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Stone.
Thank you.
All right, Jay. Intersection findings and recommendations, Police and Public Works. Turn it over to Mr. Reslow.
You wanna do it?
Wrestle for it.
I believe I sent the intersection signage review to Sarah. I believe you guys have it. Basically, the biggest thing is uniformity throughout the community and safety on a few of these intersections, especially around the pool and on long stretches of roads where visibility may be an issue. So, as of right now, these are the ones that we have found and kind of came up with. Like your guys' opinions.
So I do have a question. Obviously, the one at North Fourth and Adair is close to me, and I love the thought because it's gonna help slow down the race car traffic that goes up and down there. But I also have concerns over that road can get extremely icy, and I know same issue, obviously there's no traffic control on my road, but those two things get really icy during the winter times, and just curious how if that's been taken into effect and gonna have.
Trying to turn a dump truck at that intersection can be interesting. Our
Yes.
biggest concern was with the hill there and looking towards the north, and speed's really not an issue for us. I mean, if you wanna drive 50 miles an hour down that road, that's fine. That's, I mean, your deal, right? Law enforcement enforces that.
Dave, do you have an opinion on that?
Like I said, no,
My big thing is I'm looking for safety, so, I mean, you being a normal driver, if you come up to that intersection, you're going to stop, right?
Yes.
So if you do have something along those lines, you're stopping, where, you know, right now it could be just a mangled mess. And, I kinda go back to the icy thing of, you know, make sure your city crews are out there putting salt and sand down, I guess. I mean, that's kind of our deal. I don't know if you want to say anything on that.
I just wanted to add, I think what Josh was trying to say, we did discuss, that issue, right? But these signs, none of them were trying to structure any sort of speed control or anything like that. This was for more safety issues with the intersections themselves. Obviously, speed is an issue out there, and that gets addressed with enforcement, but the signs themselves were more not to slow people down, just to control those intersections better. And I think anybody that lives on that stretch, including you, there's a lot of near misses in those intersections, and I think having stop signs would prevent some of that. So if it happens to slow people down along the way, great. That might be a secondary benefit, but that wasn't our intentions with this.
Correct, like I said, in the end, I have my concerns about, coming from that stop right there and getting that momentum back, going up that hill to the north to do that quite a bit.
I was just trying to make jokes, guys, but I mean, honestly, safety is our biggest concern.
Correct, I mean, I see plenty of benefits, that's my only, do we have a plan for that to help maybe sand that a little bit if the conditions do warrant that, so.
I know the two plow operators like to put a lot more sand down in the years past too, so we may go through a lot more. But
I have no issues, so.
So this would need to be approved by resolution, so if it's something you want to do, then we'll prepare a resolution.
Do we need a motion to do a resolution, or do we just kind of say, prepare a resolution? Prepare a resolution.
I guess the end question is, what is the cost to add these? I don't see anything.
we have quite a bit of this stuff on hand right now.
Okay.
The biggest thing is some of the old signs that we've been taking down right now. Dave did mention to, rather than the fabric flags, to maybe cut some metal out, paint that. So we'll have some labor within that stuff. That way they last longer, hopefully. And we may have some signage purchases, but I think there's quite a bit hanging on the wall over there.
Okay, so it's not like we have to go out and purchase all new to do this. Okay, that's all I needed to know.
Good. All right, moving on. Okay, Adair County P28 Stuart Road Improvement Projects and cost sharing. Turn that over to Mr. Funk.
All right. Adair County engineers approached the city. I invited them to come, but they felt I'd be fine on my own. Adair County has a proposal. They are planning to reconstruct and resurface Road P28, road south of Stuart, outside of, south of the interstate. Their tentative timeline is grading in 2027 and asphalt overlay in 2028. The decision point for us involves approximately 1,345 feet of roadway between the former DOT driveway near the Quail Run housing development and 110th Street. That stretch is a split jurisdiction road. The west half is county responsibility and the east half is city responsibility. If we do not participate, the county project will stop south of the old DOT, or south of Quail Run. From an engineering standpoint, the pavement south of 110th Street has theoretically exceeded its original design life, although it is still functional. In terms of cost, option one would be resurfacing only. That includes overlaying and existing pavement and adding approximately 1.5 foot paved shoulders. The estimated city cost share would be about $80,000. Option two would involve grading and widening to bring the section fully up to current Iowa Department of Transportation standards, consistent with what the county is doing farther south. That cost could be significantly higher, and we do not have any numbers on that. There's also a discussion that the future truck traffic, potential truck traffic, could justify a northbound turn lane. That would increase cost and potentially require additional right-of-way, but no turn lane is included in the current base estimate. The county has indicated they would prefer corridor continuity and would like to extend improvements north to 110th Street but they need a decision from the city soon to avoid delaying their planning process. Some options are to participate at just the resurfacing part of it, or participate at the full reconstruction level, or direct staff to explore potential TIF funding before making a decision, or decline participation altogether. I also included, I don't think it was in your packet, but I stuck it in front of your seats. I copied off an email from Chip Schultz. He was writing and regarding the potential participation of the City of Stuart in the P28 road project with Adair County. His understanding is that the city's potential cost participation is in the range of $80,000, assuming the lower cost project scope is pursued. From a financing standpoint, the City of Stuart would be able to fund this dollar amount of $80,000 in the 2028 timeframe. It is helpful that the city would be able to structure any debt service payments to begin after June 30th of 2029. As you may recall, the city's available TIF revenues are limited through June 30th, 2029. This financing could potentially be included in a single financing along with Front Street improvements. This is entirely contingent upon whether the city council and mayor are wanting to participate in this project from a policy perspective. If a different project scope is pursued in which, for example, a turning lane might be added and sewer or any other improvements are completed, the city cost would be higher. Chip is not aware as to what the higher cost might be, with any turning lane being included. It may be helpful as a reminder for the context that the Adair County Board of Supervisors allowed the City of Stuart to collect TIF revenue from 18 wind turbines that are within 2 miles of the city corporate limits. This was approved in 2019. Chip had introduced the idea to the city in 2018 or 2019 of the city being able to collect wind turbine TIF revenue from turbines within 2 miles of the city corporate limits, only with the consent of Adair County. Chip worked with Kristen, the prior Economic Development Director, to coordinate the project with Adair County, including meeting with the Board of Supervisors on that matter. Dorsey and Whitney, bond counsel, helped with the process, as did Forrest Aldrich, city engineer. Over a 20-year period, the estimated TIF revenue for the City of Stuart from the 18 turbines is expected to be just over $4 million.
So if you know, is any of that TIF revenue from is that all spoken for every year?
It's being used mostly for the South 7th Street improvements, but we do use it for TIF debt.
Okay, for that, okay, so it's already, okay. I think our cost is gonna be less if we participate than if we went on our own, you know. I don't know about putting a turn lane in, because we don't know a whole lot about what's gonna happen there.
I would be curious of the numbers for the widening portion. Do you just need commitment that we're at least willing to do the option number 1 tonight? And with us being able to look into the widening and potentially the turn lane later?
I would agree with that, and because the Travel America isn't definitive, but it's made a decision.
I'm good with that, like, you know, pursue that with the possibility of something else, because we just don't have numbers.
Right.
So you can't really say.
Yeah,
I mean, it'd be nice to have it all one, but till we get numbers, so, yeah.
So I guess my motion would be to commit to option number 1 with the potential of looking into the other 2 options of widening and or turn lane when we get the figures on that.
And I'll second that, sure.
Okay. How do you vote? Cobble?
Yes.
Capps?
Yes.
Ingers?
Yes.
Nelson?
Yes.
Russell?
Yes.
Sorry, just making sure you're catching up. All right, now, residential tax abatement application, Possible revision, I'll turn it back over to Mr. Funk.
Background, the city of Stuart currently offers a residential tax abatement program through the city's urban revitalization plan. Program provides a 5-year, 75% tax abatement on the first $75,000 of the actual value added for eligible residential improvements. The program has generally been applied to new construction of single-family homes located within the designated revitalization area. At the February City Council meeting, a Stuart resident asked the council to consider whether major residential remodels or rehabilitation projects should also qualify for the tax abatement program. I reviewed the current plan, application materials and informational brochure, which I've supplied to you down there. They were put in front of your seats earlier. Plan identifies construction of new residential facilities as the primary eligible residential improvement. Plan also requires that improvements increase the actual value of the property by at least 10% in order to qualify for the tax exemption. During review of historical materials related to the adoption of the urban revitalization plan, it appears that the original proposal referenced both new construction and rehabilitation or additions to existing residential properties. However, the adopted plan language currently emphasizes new residential construction, and the city's application materials and brochure reflect this interpretation. I checked with the county. Both of them didn't see any reason why the city can't do this. I also supplied you some, later on I emailed out some other cities, neighboring cities that do allow remodels and rehabilitation of existing properties. So.
Any questions for Mr. Funk?
How does that work in the other communities? Does the county assessor have to come in and actually see what it was like before and after? What's the process of that?
It's usually done by building permits.
Okay.
Okay, so on that second page that he handed out, it says typical eligibility requirements. Improvements must increase property value by a specified percentage, often 10% or more. So the building permit will determine the value of the property?
No, well, no, that wouldn't determine the value.
Okay, so it'd have to be, somebody'd have to come in and probably assess it, I imagine. And then, boy, if they don't assess you at 10% higher,
Which
you'd be mad.
Yeah, which you would want to invite them in.
Right.
As much as you hate to.
No,
And
exactly.
most people don't invite them, but it would be in your best interest to invite them in, or like you said, or they'll just go ahead and guess. And that was explained when they did our house as well. And actually, the assessor was saying that there is a law out there that they can come in, but they just try to be friendly and whatever. So, but yeah, you are correct. You would want to invite them in and assess it.
But I could, if it had your blessings, I could put the time into it and we could come up with a plan.
So will this only be abatement on the increased value or on the overall value? Because on the overall value, I could see us losing money potentially for X years, 5 years, whatever it is.
I would have to look into what some of the other neighboring communities are doing. It just require more time, a little more research, and finding some other examples.
Yep, and that's a good point, just consider you'll be losing money either way, it's just how much.
Yeah.
And keep in mind our previous discussions tonight.
But,
any amount, in situations, I hate to be that way, but it's true. Even if you lose $500, you're out $500. That could have been used to go to supplement something, salary, office, whatever, so. I see the benefit and I see the drawback too.
I do want to also add, though, the city does have a plan that we've had in place. Some other developer has utilized it where they get $10,000 on top of if they sell the home they remodel, they can get an incentive for that development. Whereas, but they have to sell it. This
Right.
here would encourage homeowners to remodel the home they have.
How long of an abatement? I mean, we could make it be for a remodel. For a remodel, you could probably do it, you wouldn't have to do, what is it, for 5 years
Generally, they're 5
for
years.
building? And on a remodel, maybe you could not do it as long? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is.
I mean, I don't see there's any harm in continuing to gather more information on this and bring it back to
Right.
us. There's never any harm in that, so.
Right.
Yeah, well, that's,
So I-
when I want my time to be utilized, but.
Yeah. Yeah,
Come on, you got 24 hours a day, man.
I just want to table that for now then.
Well, I would, oh, go ahead, I'm sorry.
I would be interested in more information. We don't have a lot for current homeowners, so I think it would be well worth your time to investigate and bring it back to us.
I agree.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, All Saints Culture Center lease, so, talking with, Mrs. Rehall about the Saints Center, dug up the contract here, and she is informed me and pretty much beat it in my head a little bit because I have been on the city council for 4 years and I'm just now kind of catching this as well, but, she currently holds the insurance for that building. She is a contractor, and she is by the contract that has to hold the insurance on that. And I guess in my opinion, it's something for us to look at. If the building fell down tomorrow, she gets the money. And if she wasn't a good person, which I know she is, she could just say adios and out of the town she goes, and here we sit with a building that we don't have any money for or can rebuild. So I asked Janice to come in and kind of help explain this a little bit and give us the pros and cons on if this is good or if this is bad, if you don't mind coming up and just kind of sharing with us what kind of give us some direction on what we should be looking at here.
The background on this is that shortly after this, Saints Restore, Project Restore, thank you. Those people that were managing that decided that they no longer wanted to do that. I'm not sure exactly how it came about, but there was an LLC created that was going to manage the Saints Center and have a separate lease agreement with the city. The city would own it. This LLC would manage it. So throughout those conversations, they were able to obtain insurance for this LLC. And the Saints Center had been maintained, their insurance had been maintained separate, but the city did not own it at the time. So when the city took over ownership, this LLC was created and the insurance was still maintained separately as all the requirements that Sarah has to meet for general maintenance and paying utilities and all of those things, she's responsible for that too. So that's a little bit of the background. I didn't really realize coming into my role that all of that had happened until there was a problem with the insurance. And then at the time, Greg Dudley was handling that and owned the LLC. And so he and I worked together to try to resolve the insurance problem with it. And at that time, I was not the agent, but it was owned by the city and I was the city's agent. So I felt like it was in the city's best interest to come alongside him and help him. So we spent a lot of time working together on that to try to get the roof situation fixed. There's pros and cons to the lease concept. In the case, like you described, Corey, where the building could fall down, there would be an actual cash value payment made out, and only if the building was replaced would the replacement cost pay out. So somebody's not gonna run off with the full value of that building. They would have to actually replace the building to get the full cost. So in that scenario, it would not happen where they would just skip town with the full cost.
And I knew I would destroy that, that's why I asked you to come up here and make it clear for everybody.
But I do think there's some significant concern with Greg Dudley was a very responsible, hardworking person, as is Sarah, and they have the best interest of that building and the town at heart. But I don't know that it ever came to the council for a discussion when that LLC was sold to a new person. So I don't know that anyone at the city level has the right for input on that LLC, and as it transfers from person to person who's managing that, what accountability does the city want? I mean, there is the lease in place and they have to follow those requirements, but Sarah could sell it tomorrow to someone else. And so I think there just maybe needs to be some consideration of, because the city does own that, what level of responsibility and accountability do you want from that person?
And that's why I brought it up, just for informational. I'm not looking for you guys to decide on anything tonight or anything, but just more or less planting the seed. And that goes along with like the depot. The city does insure that, but we rent it out to seed. But that's a building that we insure. So my mind goes to like, why aren't we insuring that building as well? Why does that go back to an LLC? So getting that out there, so information for you guys, if we want to go a different route, direction with that, we can. We can table this and get some more information on this, or if you guys just want to move along and we're not worried about it, we can certainly do that as well. So
We have the same type of lease on the depot?
It's a little different. We do collect the rents for the depot here at the city. They go into the city's account. We do not collect any of the rents for the Saint Center.
Okay.
And it is on your actual policy as a city. That's on its own separate policy with the LLC as the named insured. So the city's not even listed as the named insured on that.
There is
I
a
got a
requirement
question.
in the
It
contract.
says the city's supposed to be a named insured in this
It
lease.
should be an additional insured, but the actual insured, named insured is the LLC. You're listed as an additional insured.
Can you explain that?
Yeah, what does that mean? I mean,
The insurance policy is written to the LLC. The city of Stuart is listed as an additional insured on their policy.
is that like being a lien holder on something? And if something happens, like you said, they can't take the money, we would have to like sign a check or something too? Or what? I guess I get that we're a named insured on the policy, but what does that mean for us? I mean.
Depending on what might happen, there, you would have rights and privileges. You would have rights and privileges, which she's going to be talking about with the roof situation. The city could come in and step in with some of that. But the actual policy declaration is the LLC is the owner of that insurance policy.
Matt, you want to interject here?
Can just add, for my experience with additional insured, a building I was managing in Des Moines, all my properties I managed, I was listed as additional insured. in the event if the building owner was to be sued, they would go after both the building owner and me. And instead of me charging them extra to pay for additional insurance, they just incorporated me on their insurance policy as additional insured, and then those expenses were covered. So it covers in that aspect.
Protected from kind of liability.
Yes.
Right.
Ah,
Because the
that's
city has
fair.
deeper pockets than Sarah might, so they would sue both of you.
I'll be honest, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. It does feel like it's a liability that if we own the building, which I think that we do, you know, do we want to shore this up? I'm not saying tonight, I'm just saying that it doesn't seem like it makes the best sense to me, the way it's written.
Well, and when Sarah took it over, at the time, we couldn't find coverage for it because they had just had a claim and it was a very expensive claim because of that roof. And so we met with Ash multiple times, she and I and Sarah, to try to figure out how she could afford to pay for the insurance as it increased. And given all the variables that she was trying to deal with on that, and that the roof claim wasn't closed at the time. So I think it puts a lot of exposure on her to try to come up with some of that additional cost that maybe it should be on the city's budget.
So are you talking about liability, or, I guess I don't know, because we don't control anything that goes on in there. You know, so if you have a big whatever to do, and people are getting drunk and falling down the steps, we don't, that's not us. Wouldn't that be up to the person that's doing it to make sure that they?
I guess I was thinking more about the building. Like, it's out of her control if the roof is blown off. That's what I was thinking of more of, is that if we own the building, do we want control over the insurance around the building? Not the events taking inside, and maybe they're one, maybe they have to be
She
one.
has a general liability policy that covers those kind of events. And she also has a property policy that covers the roof or the actual building itself.
Mrs. Rahal, go ahead.
That's just what I was
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I have liability and I have building insurance.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're two separate policies.
And I think if something catastrophic happens, somebody trips on the stairs and rolls down the flight of stairs or whatever, and everybody knows that that's a city building, guess who they're coming after first? The city. Because just like Denise said, we do have bigger pockets, and that's the first ones they're gonna look at, so.
But as an additional insured,
Yeah,
they'll
that
go,
wouldn't happen. Right, that wouldn't
her insurance will fight that
Right.
on the city's behalf.
Right. Right. So is this uncommon then, or for a lease, is it more common to do it this way? I don't know. I wasn't around when this was written, so I don't know.
I don't know. Dan, you wanna interject just a
To me, it would make a lot more sense for the city to be the name insured and her to be the additional insured, because you guys need to see that policy, you need to approve it, that's your building. You need to make sure it's insured properly. And it seems to me like it should be the other way, like Matt said, the way he did it. You should be the insured, named insured, and she should be the additional insured.
Matt?
Generally, the building owner, you have to insure your property. The tenant is supposed to insure their property, their business, their liability, their food, their utensils, their chairs, their furnishings.
Renter's insurance.
Yeah.
Basically,
Unfortunately, that's not the way this lease was written. This was written separately, where she's required to maintain insurance at certain levels. So we have to also make sure she meets those levels that are required by the lease agreement. So it's not common from what I've seen with other cities, but this is the way it was written, so this is what we've been working with.
Would we know as a city if she didn't pay for that insurance policy and they canceled her? Would we know that?
You would be notified.
Yes.
We would be.
Additional insured, yes.
Kind of something to think about, and that's why I threw it out there for you ladies and gentlemen to kind of think about it.
Well, I mean, if we're gonna talk about it, you might as well kind of think, is this something that we want anybody to review, such as an attorney, like our city attorney, to give us advice on, are we okay with this as it is? Because I know, and again, I know stuff goes up. We do give 30,000 each year that was supposed to, when I first started, prior to you coming on, supposed to pay for a loan and help pay for that insurance. So,
Are we still doing that?
we are still doing that, yeah.
We are. And it-
Her property insurance alone is what, 20,000?
20, I think almost 23,000.
Right, again, I said I know things go up, you know, so we always have the option of reviewing that development agreement and changing the amount. I believe that maybe there's maybe like 1 1/3 payments left on the revolving loan. And then there was another loan that Hotel Moto tax was paying, and there's 1 payment left on it. So if we visited, you know, like in the new fiscal year, about after we see some financials and stuff, we could always look at changing that agreement. Right now, I think it's 30,000, wasn't that it? 30,000 we gave, okay.
15 that I get to keep.
Yeah, so basically, I know it didn't cover it, but you know, you could always up that to help cover some expenses, you know, more upkeep stuff like that. And it would probably actually help us financially to do that, because it's done through TIF. So, and that would actually save us some money. Just a thought.
So anybody else in agreement of sending this on to the attorney and having him just look at it?
Yeah, I'd like to get an opinion on the risk of it both ways.
Sure. Okay.
And I would also say maybe send it on to Chip, kind of get some, have him throw some numbers at it, you know, so we could see, you know, what we could do for that to help out. Some additional funding more than the 30.
Need a vote on that? Or
Let's
we just-
make it official.
Okay.
Make it official?
Yep.
A
I don't need a
motion.
motion on that.
So I would make that motion that we refer the lease agreement onto our city attorney for review. Keeping it as it is or changing it as to the city as being the named insured, and should be, as the named insured, then should be a second named insured, kind of just swapping it. And then also referring it on to our financial advisor for some figures on what we might be able to raise that to. You know, even, let's say we do something like we did with the American Legion, say up to 100,000. And that'll give them something to work with. That doesn't mean you get 100,000. That's kind of like a line of credit type thing. But I'll give them something to work with.
Okay, motion by Cobble, do I have a second?
One second.
Second by Caps. How do you vote? Cobble?
Yes.
Caps?
Yes.
Ingers?
Yes.
Nelson?
Yes.
Russell?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Janice, appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, and All Saints Cultural Center roofing warranty replacement of east steps. I'll turn it over to Mrs. Rehall.
It's gonna be a hard crowd now.
No.
I'm gonna pass these out now. This is gonna be like the last thing that we talk about. So those are two, the same company, two separate goals.
Thank you.
So, hello, Sarah Reha here from Stuart. I manage the Sane Center. I did have most of you at the venue to kind of take a look at what I'll be talking to you about today. So the main concern would have to be getting the roof fixed. So it was replaced in 2023 by Reeves Roofing. There's been very poor communication in terms of between me and him. He was waiting on some depreciation money that's not coming. He was waiting on a lift for the last 2.5 years. And we're at a point where it needs to be fixed. It's starting to ruin the floor that is there, and some of the floor has already been replaced. So I guess I would just ask you to talk to the attorney and see how we can move forward with getting it fixed or moving a different way, and then maybe getting another professional opinion to make sure that things have actually been fixed the right way.
Okay.
There is some damage that was done from the lift. There's quite a few sidewalk panels that have been cracked or broken completely. We counted 31. So that would be that second sheet that I gave you. It's the 31, and it's about $10,000 is what Scott Concrete quoted. I think the other quote was a little bit less. It was like $8,005 for the one that was included in the packet. There's also a railing that was damaged. I have not gotten a quote for that. So this was kind of, I feel like, done pretty fast in terms of me getting it to you guys. So I didn't get that done for you.
And this all happened from that contractor?
I can't say that for sure. I'm not a concrete person, but I did include how concrete breaks in the packet, and that's kind of what it looks like in terms of how they're cracked from the middle and how they're broken.
Sure.
I feel like that would probably be up to the professional opinion of another contractor and the attorney on what.
Yeah, I think on this issue, I do think that there needs to be conversation with the city attorney to go over all of the issues that have happened because of what we think may be the roof. I think getting an answer is really important, and unfortunately, it feels like you're the expert. So I think it would make sense for you to be part of those conversations with the attorney, just to evaluate next steps and how do we go about getting it fixed?
Yes.
Matt?
I want to add that I lived across the street there, and the items that she's indicating are damaged, ironically, those damages were performed when they were there, when their equipment was there.
Okay.
I had noticed those damages myself. So I wasn't there. I'm here during the day. I wasn't across the street. I did not get to visibly see it happening while it was happening, but I noticed some damages occurring while they were installing the roof.
Just to add to that, is the guy that mows it, not as a police chief. So when they were doing that work, I don't know if you guys remember driving by and seeing the lift they used. I mean, it's a massive lift to get all the way to the top. Very, very heavy lift. They never put anything down when they were driving over the sidewalks, nothing to distribute the weight. And like Matt said, that's when we noticed the damage to the sidewalks, was after they had driven on it with that lift. So we're not concrete experts, but that's what it appeared to us.
Okay.
And I think that'd be easy to determine with, an expert, quote unquote expert opinion, to say, based on the weight of that lift and how that, those slabs are designed, it is not meant to handle that amount of weight without some sort of support structure across it. So that would be easy to prove.
And the railing for sure.
From contacting the contractor and trying to resolve it yourself.
Yes, I have all of our text message thread that I could send over to you.
Yes.
I think I actually did a Canva, but Dave's like, it's not needed, so.
If you'll send that to me, then I'll pass it on to the attorney so that we can have a conversation.
Absolutely.
So the roof was done 3 years ago, right?
Yeah, finished summer of 2023.
So were they notified right away about this?
Yes, he's
Okay.
actually said that he would be back once the depreciation came in to fix the concrete over by where I now have the trash, the
Okay.
dumpster.
All right.
And I was like, Greg, what the heck happened? And he's like, that was Reeves, and then it was like a year
Okay.
or more later that I put that dumpster in, so.
Good. So we have it from the beginning.
There is some, like, I looked on Google Earth, and there's a couple of the spots where you could tell it, in 2021, it was perfectly fine in one area, and then the 2025 one is all broken down like it is now, but I have pictures if you wanna look on my phone, it's better than what you guys got in the packet. Oh, okay.
Send this to the attorney and let him figure this out. Okay.
Any motion for that?
All
I'll
right.
make the motion to move forward with speaking with the attorney.
Motion by Nelson,
Second.
second by Cobble. How do you vote? Cobble?
Yes?
Caps?
Yes.
Anywers?
Yes.
Nelson?
Yes.
Russell?
Yes.
Okay.
Fun stuff now. So lastly, I'm requesting funds, to fix the east steps. They're pretty bad. I have had a guest fall on them, and from what it sounds like, she was a sober guest. So, and like y'all said, there's drinking that happens there, so it's really easy for, things like that to happen. Pretty much everybody I've talked to has said you cannot fix them. They are a replace kind of thing, so what you have is quotes from Scott Concrete. There's one of them where they have to haul off the old concrete material, and then one without it, and then there's a top corner of the ramp was patched in, not so great. I'd say that's probably the least of the current concerns in there. So if you were gonna approve anything, it would be the steps themselves. Those quotes do include taking the railing off, painting the bottom, kind of buffing out some of the rust that's happening, and then bracketing them back down instead of replacing the railings, because they're not, at this point, they're okay to repair.
And haul off the old concrete.
Yeah,
I
one
think-
has haul off. What are they gonna do with it if they don't haul off?
Leave it there.
The city, that's, I think, does the
gonna
city
say,
have a spot
Now
for
we're
it?
getting Josh and his guy to haul it off.
That's where everyone.
I believe one of your bids, he
Jason.
did contact me. I told him I had a spot that he could dump some since it was from a city building.
Limestone bricks.
Yeah, all the limestone and the stairs could go together, yes, I agree.
Okay.
Sarah, do we have anything budgeted for something like this?
No. Did you apply for open local tax?
I actually got approval for $20,000 from the committee to offset some of the costs that you guys would put forward.
Do we have a historic preservation committee right now, currently?
No, that's what I was gonna ask about the steps.
Yeah, I don't know if there was a program or a,
Grant or something.
yeah, grant that they could help facilitate.
Well, I was also thinking of, does it have to go before them if you're not changing any of the aesthetics, right?
Correct.
They'll look the same, okay.
I mean, you are changing the overall number of steps, but nothing else is really changing.
You're right, yes, I would suggest doing the extra step to bring it down a little bit more. It gives it a little bit of depth, and then it brings it down a little more. The concrete that's right at the bottom of the steps it's a pretty high slope, so they would be taking that down quite a bit.
Have you looked into any kind of fundraiser or anything like that yet?
See, the timing's just off because we already approved the budget, and that's where, bringing in that development agreement. I know it's a year out.
If I
You
would've
know?
known I could be a part of the budget
Oh,
talks,
yeah.
then I would've been there, but that was kind of over my head, so.
Do we have anything available, any like leftover TIF? Do we have that? Do we have anything, do you know?
I can
Anticipate?
talk to Chip about it, see
Okay.
if, as far as the tip cash on hand, if anything can be done there. I don't know if it will qualify for that or not since it's a repair, but I can ask
assuming you haven't looked into any type of grant or anything for a historic building?
Grants take a long time to get, and I don't feel like we have a long time. I have very small windows of time to get anything fixed, because I have lots of stuff booked.
And the thing that Mrs. Riho just mentioned, there was a person that fell. She cut herself pretty good. Thank goodness that she wasn't looking to sue the city or anything like that, but unfortunately, you get the wrong person in there, and that could go south pretty quickly. So, but yeah, it was a pretty decent injury that took place there because of the way the steps are. So that's something to take into consideration too. Yes, money's always tight, but is it cheaper to fund $30,000 than to pay out a lawsuit? That's food for thought as well.
So you got 20,000 right now, that you know of.
We can have Chip look into it, see what we can find or whatever, and,
I know if we could get you close, I know it's not what anybody wants to do, but just considering where we are with the budget, I mean, you have to, is that, you may have to do like a temporary patching until that next year where we can get you some more money through that development agreement.
From what I've been told, patching it will last a couple months, and then it'll
Oh,
be.
a couple months?
Yeah, I did get a quote for like a temp patch that was about $3,000, and he was like, honestly, spend it on the actual steps, replacing them, so I don't know if we have Phil Rock. So, possibility with that, and then I am not so worried about the broken sidewalk panels, the $10,000. Like, I feel like that, talking with the attorney, that can be something that can be pushed off. It would definitely just be, I mean, pretty much the 44,000 plus the pumper truck. That would be what I would be
So
requesting.
basically, about the 56, or 46.3 if we just took 10,000 off that lower estimate without them hauling.
Yeah.
That type of stuff.
So then you're looking at
And you got-
26.3.
Yeah, it'd be 26.3, and then if we have anything out of the TIF, do you have any idea where we're at in our general fund as far as reserves? I know we got a little breakdown, and I think we've lost $500,000 over the past 3 years. I shouldn't say lost, but it's gone down. Top of your head, best guess?
No,
Okay.
no, I don't, just guess.
Fair enough.
It feels like it needs to be taken care of before there's something, I mean, yes, we could get sued, but what if someone really got hurt? And I feel like that is also important. So I would just see if we could just explore funding, everything Mike said, and then things we're not thinking of to get it done before something bad does happen. And again, there's a financial bad, but also, these are guests in our community using this beautiful space, and we don't want people to get hurt when we know there's a problem.
yeah, I agree, and talking with Mrs. Riho as well, she has that thing booked all the time, so it's not like an event once every other month or whatever. She's talking weekends. I mean, every weekend, she's got something pretty much, so to try to have a contractor come in there and fix that in the little small window she's got, that's another hurdle that we're gonna have to cross too, because we don't wanna cancel the events or whatnot. When you start talking weddings and stuff like that, you hate to shy somebody away, because that is also revenue coming in, but however.
I've been told about 2 weeks, start to finish for the steps.
2 weeks.
How soon could Scott start?
Tomorrow, kind of thing. Because I asked him, I was like, if they get it approved, like, can you start tomorrow, kind of thing. He's like, heck yeah. So, Clayton's been pretty great with it, so. And I don't know if it's exactly tomorrow, but
This year, soon.
soon.
Okay. All right, well, it kind of sounds like from the council that we'll kind of check into this and see what kind of funding we can come up with.
When's your next event?
March 28th.
We have
I have Easter weekend and it doesn't stop until the second week of July. Got about 2 weeks, an event, I got another couple weeks, and then I have events nonstop until the end of November.
We do have a special council meeting, March 25th, coming up as well, that we could always add this to it if we need to make a quick decision too, or whatnot. That's also an option, just to let you guys know.
No, that's perfect.
Yeah,
I
maybe
mean,
we could plan on that.
Yeah, I
March
mean,
25th
because
meeting.
you probably hear something fairly quick from Chip, I'd imagine, you know.
It's probably not the answer you were looking for tonight, but it kind of sounds like that's maybe the best that you do for now. We can put it on that special council meeting and get back to you as quick as possible. So, you guys good with that?
That's,
Yeah.
it will be pushing, I don't know if I'll be able to like schedule that at that point, but hopefully, I guess,
Fingers crossed.
yeah, I guess if they're working weekends, then maybe they can get it done. Cause prom's kind of my first April,
Yeah.
so a bunch of wobbly leg teenagers.
Right. In high heels.
Yeah, heels.
Totally understand. Okay, perfect. Thanks, Sarah. Appreciate you. All right. Rescue Department proposal for full-time assistant director position. I'll turn it over to Director Capps.
Dustin Capps, Stuart Rescue. I apologize, I didn't bring anything for the city attorney tonight. Does anybody have any questions about what was in the packet?
No, so you just want to you want to do away with the assistant director position and just reclassify that?
Correct.
As
So
just to a
that-
paramedic?
That assistant director position has already been approved by the city council. It's technically an open position. I just want to convert it to a full-time paramedic position instead.
Oh, okay, because I saw assistant director.
Yeah.
No.
Okay, so that's different. So I know the last person we had in there didn't have any benefits, and I know, I don't think I was at the meeting where you got the loan for benefits. Was this part of that benefit, or that loan?
It can be used to support the benefit package for a full-time employee.
Okay, for how long?
Well,
Until, for 3 years?
yeah, one employee for, this year. We've already approved next year's budget. After that, we can start actually levying for the benefits for the position. So this would support it for a year and 4 months.
Okay. We don't have any idea what that levy would be, do we? To do that?
Plug the numbers in. No.
What's that?
You just gotta plug the numbers in.
Okay. Is this something that we'd want to find out? Because if we do it for a year and we find out it's gonna kill our levy,
So
which it shouldn't, but,
Ash had a conversation with Dustin before he left
okay.
about staffing the rescue department.
Mhm.
And starting next fiscal year, there's enough money in the budget for 4 full-time positions, and one of those is Dustin,
Okay,
with benefits in the rescue department, if it eliminates the overtime.
okay, okay.
So basically, in a nutshell, this number that he's asking for it would work.
Right, it's just getting a little bit of a head start
Right.
on the bigger picture.
And then we just need to, we're gonna have to levy for it.
Yes.
We can't borrow again. We'd have to levy. That's what concerns me, is like, where's that levy gonna be?
Right, so the proceeds from the loan are going to supplement you
Right.
until you get to the point where your tax base catches up, and the levy will support all of it.
And that's about a year, right? Or a
3
year?
years.
3 years. Oh,
3
okay,
years.
okay, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Okay. If that's, okay, I didn't know that, so if that's gonna help you out. So you're asking for just one right now, or are you asking for 3 more? What are we doing?
What I
here?
asked for in my budget ultimately is to get to 3 full-time frontline paramedics.
Mhm.
This was just kind of the first step to get us until,
Okay, so just one right now.
yeah, just converting the existing position into front.
Now, is that 3 including you, or 3 additional? To make that 4 total?
Additional.
3 additional,
So
yeah.
4 total.
So asking for 1 right now. I'll make that motion, that we full-time benefits.
I'll second.
All right, motion by Cobal, second by Nelson. How do you vote? Cobal?
Yes.
Caps?
Yes.
Ingers?
Yes.
Nelson?
Yes.
Russell?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. We're getting down to the P, deputy clerk proposed wage increase. I had Sarah add this to the agenda. We did talk about, when Ash left, we talked about this in a joint meeting, to maybe look at increasing her salary, for the added responsibilities. I get that Ash is just on vacation now, but it's a permanent vacation. He's on vacation now until April 3rd. And since then, Sarah has been taking over quite a bit of duties. She has been keeping up. I visit with her almost every day, and she has her hands full. And she's doing very well from what I can see. And my proposal tonight would be to increase her salary by $5,000. I did talk to Ash before he left to make sure that he was good with that, and he said you can do whatever you want, and you could go up to, but on all serious note, he says he would feel comfortable even extending that up to $10,000 or lower than $5,000, whatever. But I feel that bumping her up a little bit with added responsibilities would be probably the right thing to do. So my proposal tonight was $5,000. I'll let you guys open it up for discussion and tell me your thoughts or concerns with it.
So this is a shared cost, right? You're shared utilities
I'm
and,
a shared employee, but this is a city discussion.
Yeah,
right.
this would just be city side, is where I was coming out with this.
Are we looking to ask the utility board for sharing this?
Yeah, see, that's where I was going at. It's shared. I know we're talking to decide if we want to do it, but are we going to ask for
And
half of
obviously,
that?
we can, if we decide to approve it, part of our motion could be to extend it to the utility board and,
Contingent upon their,
or contingent or not upon them, just
Right.
ask them if they want to contribute at all, if
Are
we
you-
decide to do this.
Are you willing to pay all that if they
Correct, that's what I'm saying.
do that? Yeah.
I would also like to add that we give her the title of city clerk since we do not have a city clerk.
That's totally up to you guys.
I don't feel real comfortable doing that without a job description change. I don't mean to throw a wrench in it, but I think we could say interim or something like that, but I don't know that I'd be comfortable making a job title change without a corresponding job description. Sarah might not be comfortable doing that either. I like, if we could use the word interim, which shows that she's doing some duties as we are filling the position, I'd be a little more comfortable.
And we're in the middle of an audit by Thea Consultants to look at everything, so I would not want to make that decision until
Yeah.
we get the findings of that review and their recommendations and everything.
Matt?
Would you be willing to hear anything from a coworker of hers?
I'll allow that, yeah.
I think she'd be worth that 5,000. And I think it'd be fair to ask this, to the utility board to match that.
Okay.
I-
yeah, and I think that's kind of where we were going. I don't know if it, I was trying to think of any drawbacks if we pay it just ourselves. If, could they come back and expect us to pay the full thing ourselves eventually? I don't know.
Yeah.
Anything could happen, I think it's worth an ask.
What do you mean,
I-
pay the full thing
Could
ourselves,
they-
like her entire salary?
Yeah, could they say, well, if you're gonna increase it and, not get our buy-in, just do it on your own, why don't you just pay yourself out of the city fund?
I mean, just, have we ever, one side approved salary increases and the other side has not?
Have we? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So
don't know.
that's
See-
really no different than that, in my opinion.
Well, I know, but I don't know that, so,
Yeah.
I don't know what I don't know, so. I mean,
Correct.
It's probably done before I was here, so.
I would be comfortable paying the 5,000 if the utility said, no, we don't wanna throw anything in. So worst case, 5,000, I would feel comfortable doing that.
Yeah, I'm not against it. At least ask, right? All we can say is no.
Yep.
So,
Okay, is that your motion, Mrs. Caps?
Sure, I'll make a motion that we increase salary by 5,000 a year.
Okay, I have a second.
I'll second.
okay, so we're just doing it then?
The 5.
Just, we're just doing 5? Well, I can ask it. That wasn't part of the motion to ask.
We can always let that motion die and re-ask if
Well, we got a
that's.
second.
Well, I
considered.
already
We already got a
Yeah,
second.
like I said, I mean, well, we can just, you know,
Or,
We
I
can make
believe you
another
can
motion
amend
after
your
this.
motion.
I would amend my motion to say that we approach the utility board to see if they are interested in paying any piece of that.
Okay,
My second stands.
amended motion by Caps, second by Nelson. How do you vote? Cobal?
Yep.
Caps?
Yes.
Ingers?
Yes.
Nelson?
Yes.
Russell?
yes.
Could I also make a motion that we, with her job title, sounds like maybe interim is more comfortable for everybody else?
I mean,
But,
she is the acting interim city clerk anyways, for
Yeah,
city code.
currently, yeah.
But if we made her the city clerk, then that might ease up potential city administrator hiring. They wouldn't have to be a city clerk at that point.
Again, I wouldn't feel
Uh,
comfortable with that until we,
I'm gonna say, since that's not on the
Yeah, I
agenda
think
to
we're
talk
on
about
it.
that, I'm gonna have to deny that.
again, we're in the middle of
Yeah.
Yeah, we,
process and a hiring. We don't wanna just change everything at this moment, in my opinion, so.
All right. We'll move on. Reports, mayor's reports. I know it's getting late. I'm gonna be quick here. I'm gonna just fly through things. So in February, we had training on first aid. Had a pretty good turnout on that. Attended, so if you're asking why we're having these trainings, monthly trainings, talking with our insurance provider and Janice, she's writing out a list of different topics to train about, and that would help us, or could potentially help us in reducing cost and insurance when we have some training. So that's why I've kind of implemented monthly trainings. I kind of throw around the different times so anybody can meet it. I know during the day, everybody has jobs. It's hard, but trying to get the full-time employees in here as well. That's why there's different times. I also attended a P&Z meeting just the other night, and also attended a meeting for White Pole Road construction. Guthrie County did get a grant for White Pole Road, so we had a meeting in here with all the players and start talking about that. More to come with that. Still looking for volunteers for P&Z, Board of Adjustments, Landfill Board, Historical Committee. So if you or anybody that you know would be interested in that, please reach out to me or come up to the City Hall. There is some information up at the desk. When the City Hall employees can help out with that. So community wins. We had I know I'm gonna miss some things, but I do have some big hitters here. So for me, this was a personal thing. So the Stuart Scoop opened back up for the season. Yay, because I love ice cream. Goldfinch Provisions opening up. City Hall employees. A shout out to them. They're rolling with the changes. I am changing things, just minute little changes. And Sarah just puts on a smile every day and just rolls with the changes. So her and her team are doing the best they can, and they're doing very well. Stuart PD apprehended the subway robber within 30 minutes. That's huge. Shout out to them officers and the PD for doing such thing. That was amazing. Stuart Rescue staffing both ambulances without the help of mutual aid. Good work to you guys as well. And building up the rescue side of things. I know that's a lot of work for all departments here. Stuart Fire for having 5 members in Firefighter 1 class. That is very awesome to see as volunteers. And the Public Works, there was a snowstorm February 20th where we had several inches of snow. And I heard them out very, very early that morning, cleaning the streets in a timely manner. And I do believe on that date, they responded to help rescue with a bad situation. So with doing that, clearing out the snow, everybody done a very good job. Shout out to the community for all that. That's all I got. I'll be quiet. So good work, everybody. Moving on, city administrator and the clerk reports. So we have changed the way we do reports for the police, rescue, fire, public works, all the department heads. We do have a form that we send out to all the department heads. That will be in the minutes. It will be online. It'll be in the minutes, so for everybody else to review. I did take a lot of the community wins that I just went over, came off of these. So I don't want to steal their parade by no means, but that's why we have them fill out these forms so we can see what their needs are and everything else. And the public, you guys can all read that as well. I'm not gonna go through it, all that. So everybody has done a very good job on that. Moving on to council members' reports. Do you guys have any community wins or reports you would like to discuss? I'll open it up to you guys.
I had 2 items to share. The Guthrie County Supervisors voted that EMS is an essential service, so they have reconvened an EMS advisory committee representing Stuart. We are meeting every other Wednesday. Current status is just that they are exploring, they're getting information, very similar to last time, proposed 75-cent levy. I think it may take the same course as last time. They're just gathering information, and there will be a proposal provided to the supervisors. I would expect that to happen in this early summer. So a lot more to come. I just wanted it on your radar that the meetings are happening and that we are a part of those. And the second thing I had to share is that with the mayor's blessing, we're going to begin an employee handbook overhaul, and that work starts this Friday. We're going to look at what we currently have that's from 19-something, starts with a 19, and how we can update it and then make sure that we are incorporating current employment law and that kind of thing. So that'll start this Friday. Again, we're just getting started, and that'll all come through the council before there's any decisions made, but we'll start working on that on Friday.
Just a quick question, because that's news. When was that ever provided to the council? To who's on this committee?
For Stuart, it's me.
No, for the handbook.
All the directors are included in the conversation.
Okay.
To begin, there's no changes being made. It's
I
just-
know, but usually the whole council would be made aware of before it's set up that, hey, we're doing this. That's kind of a respect the process type thing, is all I'm saying. It's like, it's not a bad thing, but to kind of find, well, we're doing this, well, I need to know who the we is. And I think that would be respectful to the rest of the council members, to just say, hey, we would like to do this, and follow the process. Part of our code of conduct and ethics on there, I was just reading that today, is respect that process. It's not a bad thing, I'm saying. It's not a bad thing.
I apologize. We can put a pin in it if you want.
No, you're fine. I
had talked to Ash, and then I followed up with Sarah. I didn't know he was leaving on the day he left, so it kind of landed over on Sarah's. And maybe Ash's suggestion would have been that I wait and bring it here, but I think then I just picked the ball up literally on the day after he left. So
Okay. Yeah, I didn't know so it's all the department heads and you doing it?
just leading the project.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
Just a reminder that we do have a special meeting scheduled for March 25th at 6 p.m.
I did skip over you, didn't I? That was very rude of me. I apologize. I just kind of flew right past you. Sorry. You can fire me later. How's that? Okay. All right. Other than that, any other council members have anything? Meeting adjourned. Oh.
I was just gonna ask a clarifying question. Can I ask it? So on the vehicle thing,
I want you to know I'm under budget.
I'm a little confused on, I know you said to talk to Sarah on funding issues, but does that mean that I can tell them to go ahead with this?